But a lot to do. PGA Championship round one actually is underway this morning. They're having to finish up round one because of yesterday's 2-hour weather frost delay. They didn't finish last night. So a lot of golfers on the course this morning trying to finish up round one, including our leader at the PGA Championship in Rochester, New York, Eric Cole. Eric Cole is kind of a...
remember him a couple of weeks ago, or 2 months ago when he played.
I don't know the name.
He was in the thick of things.
He's a good-looking golfer, though, man. Smooth golf swing. He's at 5 under par, but then a really good leaderboard that includes the slimmed-down Bryson DeChambeau, who had a heck of a round yesterday, shot 66. He's down about 20, 30 pounds from his remember he's all muscle-bound and thick. He's slimmed back and looking good yesterday. Scotty Scheffler is at 3 under par. Dustin Johnson's on the leaderboard. Victor Hovland, Keegan Bradley, a former PGA champion winner. So Adam Scott is up there. So good board. We'll keep you posted in the wrap-up of round one, and then they'll tee off round two this morning.
I think this dude Ryan Fox is like a club pro.
Ryan Fox, yeah, he's at 2 under par. But, you got a couple live golfers in there in DJ and DeChambeau. You got Scotty Scheffler hanging around. John Rahm did not have a good day.
No,
John
he did
Rahm
not.
Did not have a good day. He shot +6, I believe, was his final total yesterday.
Snowman.
Thanks for that pick yesterday.
That's a hard golf course right there. I mean, obviously, course is going to be difficult. If 4 under or what as right now 5 under, but the round's not over for the leader. If that's the best they get on the day one, the course will get tougher into the weekend, more difficult. That's just the way the PGA Championship goes. They'll the pin placements, and now they are expecting some rain potentially Saturday, which could soften up the greens. But if they don't, they'll get harder and harder and faster and faster there at Oak Hill. It's going to be a really tough challenge and test of golf into the weekend. We'll get you some of the leaders, but right now, they're wrapping up round one this morning as part of our headlines.
They played into the dark yesterday. It was nice.
Yeah, all the way. Well, you knew when you push everything back 2 hours, and then you got to get. I mean, it's a full field, and before the cut into the weekend, it was going to probably not get done, and it didn't with the delay from yesterday morning. Hey, let's get to the headlines, trending topics. Make sure you're caught up on the Friday morning news. UBO Business Services, we'll start with Texas baseball. Busy night last night. Longhorns opened up that regular season-ending series with first-place West Virginia resoundingly. A dominant 12-2 pounding of the Mountaineers at the dish. How about the Longhorn outfitter downtown Porter Brown? Had himself a night, blasted 3 home runs, drove in 8 runs on the night. Dylan Campbell went 3 for 4, hit his 11th home run of the year. He also extended his program record hitting streak to 31 games. On the mound, Texas ace Lucas Gordon notched his 6th win with a 7 innings of 4-hit ball. The win keeps the Longhorns in the hunt for a share of the Big 12 regular season championship. We'll have to win the remaining 2 games of the series. Starting tonight, 6:30. First pitch, you'll hear it live here on the Horn with Game 2. LeBaron Johnson Jr. will get the ball for Texas. West Virginia will counter with their 7-game winner, Blaine Traxel. Craig Way will have more on that coming up in the Craig Way Report. Softball, Longhorn softball will begin playing the NCAA tournament today over at McCombs Field. They're the host for the NCAA Regional there. Seton Hall, the opponent today. Texas State and Texas A&M are also a part of that double elimination tournament. Great news late yesterday for Texas basketball and Rodney Terry. Word, as many of us expected, that junior point guard Tyrese Hunter is returning to the Longhorns for another season after testing those NBA draft waters. Hunter started all 38 games for the Longhorns this past season on the run to the Big 12 Tournament Championship in the Elite Eight. Began his career at Iowa State, where he was the Big 12's Freshman of the Year that year. Hunter joins a rebuilt backcourt that now includes himself, Oral Roberts transfer and scoring machine Max Asmus, and Texas Arlington transfer guard Kendall Weaver. Look for Rodney Terry and the staff to look for at least one more guard for depth in that backcourt in the transfer portal. NBA playoffs last night. Top-seeded Denver Nuggets now 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. They held off the LA Lakers in Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals last night, 108-103, thanks to a scintillating fourth-quarter performance from their emerging star Jamal Murray and a cold shooting night from both Lakers stars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LA held the lead for most of the game, entered the fourth quarter up 79-76. That's when Jamal Murray just absolutely exploded. 26-year-old poured in 23 of his game-high 37 in the final 12 minutes. Hit 6 of his 7 shots from the floor, 4 3-pointers, made a bunch of free throws down the stretch. His red-hot shooting fueled a 15-1 run early in that quarter that separated the game. Nikola Jokic added another triple-double, 23 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. For the Lakers, LeBron James and Anthony Davis shot a combined 13 of 34 from the floor, included 1 of 9 from 3-point attempts. Games 3 and 4 will be back at Staples Center in L.A., where they are undefeated in the playoffs so far. Eastern Conference semifinal series Game 2 is tonight in Boston. Heat are up 1-0 on the Seas. In baseball last night, both the Rangers and Astros enjoyed a day off. Both will open up weekend home series with last-place teams tonight. Texas will host Colorado for 3. Houston will host the Oakland A's for 3. Round Rock, a 4-1 loser to El Paso on a thirsty Thursday at the Dell Diamond. Our texter says, I don't think I'm ever going to get used to hearing Bucky say Fort Cavazos instead of Fort Hood. Yeah, that's every time you say it, but you're doing a good job. Just repeating it. Good job, everyone. You haven't missed it yet. I know you write it down.
So far, so good. Yeah, I write it down and look dead smack at it for the first couple of weeks.
It'll all click in at some point.
Oh,
Fort Cavazos, Texas, and we appreciate them. Yeah, good stuff last night. Longhorn baseball. That's the way you open a series. Stepping it up. We talked to David Pierce yesterday. Heck, we talked about Porter Brown yesterday with David Pierce.
Oh, yeah.
And what an impact he has had as a graduate transfer from TCU, bringing experience. And, man, what a night he had. Downtown Porter Brown, they call him. He has been so clutch for them, so rock solid in the middle of that order all year long, playing a really good brand of left field. And as we talked about with Coach Pierce, he was a childhood eye model, Buck. Eye model. His mom signed him up because he's dark skinned, but he's got these deep blue, greenish eyes. And as David Pierce said to us yesterday, when I'm talking to him, I just can't stop looking at his eyes. He's such a unique looking person. And boy, did he have himself a night. The big home run he hit in the second inning, his second at bat. He drove in a couple of runs in the first inning. Longhorns just attacked the West Virginia starter last night. Then his second inning blast made it 6-0, and really felt at that point, okay, with Lucas Gordon on the mound, this thing's going to go good. And they just kept pouring it on. 12-2 the final. They get the victory there. So 1 down, 2 to go.
Wow.
1 down, 2 to go.
Boy, what a way to start too. And they all played well last night.
They did. That was complete performance. Now look, West Virginia. They started because it was a Thursday night start. They didn't start their normal weekend starters. They started with the back end, knowing they just really have to win one game in this series. And Longhorns are going with Lucas Gordon. They're going to go with Blaine Traxel tonight. He's a 7-game winner. ERA in the mid-3s. This is one of their better pitchers, so I don't think West Virginia panics. But with the weekend crowds now coming, it'll be a bigger crowd tonight and a sellout. I would imagine Sunday or Saturday will be a frenzied type of crowd at 2:30, and that can be an impactful thing. And the more the Longhorns keep the pressure on, the more the pressure mounts on West Virginia. You come in knowing we just got to probably win one game, and we're going to clinch our first. Would be their first ever Big 12 regular season crown. As a program, but the more the Longhorns can play with the lead and get out to quick starts, with LeBaron Johnson Jr. tonight, the more pressure rolls into the West Virginia dugout, and the more the home crowd become a factor for the Longhorns. But yeah, really, really good start to that series last night for your Texas Longhorns as they get the first win. So game 2 tonight, 6:30. A little more from David Pierce coming up with Craig and the Craig Way Report on a busy Friday morning.
You know what? I hope this rain just chills out. I hope we get a nice weekend, especially for this baseball team. I mean, last night was a beautiful night to play.
Isn't it? It's supposed to rain pretty hard tonight, though, right?
Is it tonight that the rain is coming?
That's what I've been hearing all week.
Gosh.
Well, I mean, the game, let me look at the forecast. There's a chance for rain starting about 6 o'clock. But then the heavier stuff is supposed to go overnight.
So maybe it'll be after the game's over.
Yeah. Then obviously they'll be watching the forecast. They've got time. If there's going to be a delay, they can play a doubleheader tomorrow. I know the Big 12 wouldn't want to have a doubleheader most likely, but they want everything wrapped up by Saturday.
Because they got to get going next week.
Yeah, everybody needs to. They need to get West Virginia back home because the Big 12 tournament starts on Wednesday up in Arlington. So Big 12 trying to wrap things up with their regular season by Saturday, tomorrow, as that would be. All right, so we've got a lot to do. We'll dive into this Lakers-Nuggets game last night. Another good one. Lakers did not play well, yet they were in the game again in the closing moments of the basketball game. Jamal Murray was just too red hot. I mean, what a performance he had. That's a legendary performance in the fourth quarter of a finals game right there. He was unbelievable. Let me first say about our friends over at Viking Fence. Longhorns were swinging for the fences last night. That's what Viking Fence is all about. They've been doing it for 50 years, 5 decades plus, right here in Central Texas, the premier fence company in Austin, Texas. You know that, and they're still, after all this time, still locally owned. and operated, and they still do it the same way. After investing in all of the abilities to build you a better fence and higher quality fence, they do it with their own on-site lumber mill, their own on-site custom ironworks facility. They want to control those raw materials so they control everything from front to back, from budget to the quality of the work that they do on any fence, whether it's a commercial project, residential, temporary rental fence, doesn't matter. Whatever division you're working with, you'll get the best from the best at Viking Fence. 837-6411, the phone number. It's 837-6411, online at vikingfence.com. When you think fence in Austin, Texas, think Viking Fence. There you go. Every single time. All right, Vegas does pretty good. So the line on game one, Nuggets-Lakers, was 6. It ended up a 6-point final. Nuggets won it. Last night, the line was 5.5.
Make your free throws at the end of the game,
And the
please.
Lakers came up within 5, 108-103. So if you took Denver, you lost. You took the Lakers, you won by half a point. But through 2 games now, obviously the Nuggets have won both on home floor. I just don't think the Lakers have played a good game yet. And yet they've been in the game at the end of the game. I don't know what that means. They're bench.
That means they've lost. That means they're down 2-0.
Yeah, but it's a long series, Buck. I mean, they're going to go back home, and the Lakers.
I don't think it's as long as it can be now. That you had to win one of those games, I believe.
Well, look, if they hold serve, then it all becomes about Game 5. And hold serve meaning win on their home floor, where they haven't lost a game this year. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a night back in L.A. where the Lakers 2 stars. I mean, LeBron James missed 4 layups last night.
Dude, he missed
4 layups.
1,000 3-pointers, and he took some really bad shots.
He did take some bad threes, and he was 0 for 6.
Wow.
But a bigger impact for, I think, the game, LeBron missed a dunk where he went up to try to do a hammer dunk and dropped the ball.
Oh, yeah, that was a breakaway.
He was flopping again last night, too.
All
over the place.
So did Jokic. Yeah, he did flop, and then Jokic did it right back to him the next time down the floor, which I thought was pretty great. But, I mean, LeBron, he missed 4 little shots right at the cup, including a dunk. He was bad last night for the Lakers. And yet again, it was a 3-point game, 4-point game in the closing minutes. As you said, Buck, they're going to lose close games. But my argument would be if they get back at home in L.A. and play better, because I don't think they didn't play a good defensive game in game 1. And last night, their 2 best players, Anthony Davis was 4 for 15. LeBron did not have a good shooting night. By any stretch, whether it was from deep or from in the interior, and scored 22 points.
I thought it was a quiet triple-double by Jokic last night, too.
Well, they did a nice job on him. The hero for the game for the Lakers was Rui Hachimura, who came off the bench and scored 21. He also played great defense on Nikola Jokic last night. And Jokic had a ho-hum triple-double of 17 rebounds and 12 assists and 23 points. But, the story of the game was Jamal Murray. What he did, he had been off earlier in the game with his shooting touch, and he got to the fourth quarter, and he started to look like Steph Curry. Everything he threw up hit nothing but the bottom of the net. It was really, really impressive. This dude got going. It was like the microwave Vinnie Johnson, man. It was really, really a 23 points in a 12-minute span, and 9 of 10 free throws, hit 4 big threes, and really became the difference in the basketball game. And that really was. They're talking about both teams have 2 stars. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray both played really well last night when it mattered most. Both Anthony Davis and LeBron James did not. Both of them had poor nights, I thought, and the Lakers still had a chance to win the game. So I know. Yeah,
I just think they'll press over the next 2 games. They'll have to press. They're in a real dire situation. The Lakers. You're down 2-0 to a really, really good basketball team right now, and you haven't lost a game at home ever. So in these playoffs, but man, you're gonna have to do some outstanding things. LeBron can't sit back there and take these crazy threes. I understand you get a breakaway and the ball slips out of your hand. Those things happen. He had a couple that got away from him, but it's the ones that he takes that aren't close. See, those jumpers, those 3-point shots.
Yeah, I thought, again, LeBron is he is the leader of that team, and I thought he's played poorly in the biggest moments of the games 1 and 2. And that's, we talked about the last 2 minutes of game 1 where they had a chance to steal a road win, and he took a bad 3-pointer with 45 seconds to go and had a turnover late. And in this game, he was 9 for 19 from the floor, 0 for 6 from 3. He's a huge factor. He almost had a triple-double. But when those 2 guys take 34 shots and only make 13 of them,
that's going to hurt.
That's a big number. Rui Hachimura had 21. Austin Reeves had 22. The supporting cast.
And Reeves wasn't hot early. He was struggling early in the game. Yeah,
he had a couple of big ones late to pull, because when Jamal Murray went in fuego, they went on a 15-1 run, and all of a sudden a close game was a double-digit lead, and then they had a couple turnovers, and then it was Austin Reeves who hit a bunch of consecutive threes to get him back in it. back down to 5, and this is where tie with the bet of Denver. It was Austin Reeves that really brought him back. But, then LeBron James missed another couple shots. He did. Again, that's it feels like Denver is the better team. In a long series, if they go to L.A. and win Saturday night and then again on Monday night, it'll be 2-2 going back to Denver. And again, a 7-game series isn't a series until a road team wins. Obviously, if Denver goes in and takes one of the two in L.A., that's series over. That's Katie bar the door. But if the Lakers can win on their floor, which I think they can, again, they haven't.
But they're not going to get shut out. They're going to win a game.
But if they win both, then it becomes a 3-game series, and I give the Lakers a puncher's chance in the series because again, I don't think they've played a good game yet, and maybe they won't. I'm just saying that they have not played a good game yet. They've been in both games, which shows some grit that they have. But so far, yes, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, the Nuggets have been the better team. They're the better rebounding team. But we'll see if they can do that at Staples Center in L.A. Because if the Lakers win their 2, then we have a series. Obviously, tonight in Boston, it is a must-win for the Celtics. I mean, they absolutely have to win this game with the Heat tonight. We know that would be going down 2-0, going back to South Beach would be a huge problem for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, it would. So I think Miami would put the lights out if that were
but
to
they
happen.
get both. I mean,
Yeah.
that line is still 9.5. That's crazy. The odds makers favor the Celtics by nearly double digits tonight.
Jimmy Butler's not going to let them be tired or sit back with one win.
Well, and as we talked about yesterday, or going into the series, the biggest single advantage for the Heat is their coach, right? And in Game 1, you realize that while the Heat were outscoring the Celtics in the third quarter, 46-25. I mean, a 21-point advantage in one quarter. You realize that the young coach Joe Mazzulla didn't call a single timeout, didn't use a single timeout.
Trying to let the guys figure it out themselves.
To slow anything down, to make any adjustment. Just let it happen. Overwhelm. I saw Darvin Ham last night a couple of times. He also is a young coach. Do a good job when it felt like the thing was getting away from them. Darvin Ham called a couple of timeouts for the Lakers just to slow things down, get them a breather, and just slow the momentum down. Joe Mazzulla, for the entire third quarter where your team's outscored 21 points, you gotta do something with your team. And then after the game, Joe Mazzulla kind of threw his team under the bus because he was asked by the Boston media, why weren't you prepared? And he said, we were prepared. We played a great first half. We came in, we scored 66 points, but they followed up and said, well, you weren't prepared to start the second half. And he said, no. Well, then he almost put that on the players, saying, well, look, we were ready. We had a game plan. It just didn't get executed. And the Heat were the tougher team in that third quarter, but the young coach didn't do much to help his team. And you wonder if the Celtics and their players will rally behind their coach, or if there's going to be some friction there. Because if you listen to that press conference, it did feel like Joe Mazzulla was saying, don't blame me. Don't look at me. Look at them. They were the ones on the floor, which is true. Same time, the coach has to step in and help out when things are going
don't look at me.
well.
They built up a nice lead. They were playing well for the first half.
Yeah.
They're professionals. They ought to be able to handle it.
Well, he almost took offense that they asked why weren't you prepared? Well, look, I mean, that's a 48-minute game. It's not a 24-minute game. You looked completely different.
Right, and that's what I said about the Lakers. It doesn't matter if you come back and fight back and you lose. It just ends up being an L. I know it hurts Ty because his guys can't shoot the free throws to get him 2 points.
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what happened. I'll take a 2-0 series lead.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, you will, because now the Lakers are in the position to have to beat them 4 out of 5 times to win the series.
Tough.
Because remember, I did take Denver winning the series 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
You did, and it could be for you. We'll just see. I still think we're gonna have a series there. I would lean. I picked the Lakers because you guys were both taking Denver to be contrarian. Same time, I still feel like the Lakers have a because again they haven't played a good game yet. They play a good game, find some mojo, and the fact that they haven't played well and are still in the game at the end, their reserves are outplaying the Denver reserves right now. Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Schroeder, those guys are giving them a chance because when your stars play as poorly as Davis and LeBron did
Porter
last night,
is killing them though. He doesn't miss.
Well, I mean, it's a really good Denver team.
God,
it's a really good Denver team. Michael Porter had 16 points last night, hit 5 of his 10 or 4 of 7 3-pointers. He's a nice piece. Aaron Gordon is a big dude down low. I mean, Caldwell Pope didn't do as much, but the kid Bruce Brown keeps coming off the bench and giving Denver a great spark.
And when he comes in, he get a spark immediately when he comes in.
He absolutely does. And Hachimura did the same thing, and Schroeder did the same thing for the Lakers. Those guys are it's a gritty Lakers team. I just feel like if they get really good performances from their stars like we've seen the Nuggets get, they can win a couple of games, at least make it a series and get it back to Denver with a chance. But right now Denver in control of that series. The Heat up 1-0.
I'll give them this: they have to win Game 3, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, without a doubt. I just said that. I mean, the Lakers have to hold serve, meaning win their 2 home games. If they do, it's a best-of-3 series, and they head back to Denver. Denver would have 2 of those 3 on their home floor, where they're undefeated in the playoffs as well. But we'll see. Lakers disappointed. They have to be with their performance and still, losing those games because Denver won them. But I don't think the Lakers they didn't play as good a game in this series, in either of those 2 games, as they did at all in the Golden State series. And maybe it's a matchup situation, but LeBron James missed a lot of easy shots last night and took a lot of open threes that he shouldn't be taking. When he's got guys on his team that can make threes like Austin Reeves,
you're right.
He doesn't need to be shooting them. And Anthony Davis doesn't need to be shooting 3 threes either. I mean, they were 1 of 9 from 3-point. What are those? I mean, those aren't not go to the basket. Even when he went to the basket, LeBron was struggling last night. I think that right before he bobbled the ball in the dunk that he was trying, the breakaway.
He had something.
He went right to the lane and got to the rim, and the
missed one.
Finger
right
roll
there.
was short. It's like, LeBron, what are you doing?
It was hilarious.
What is happening? You're starting to look like an old guy all of a sudden.
Yeah, he had 2 plays and really looked pretty old.
And he missed like 3 threes in a row.
Yeah,
just trying to like hit that
he tried to gather some momentum. If I can just get one of these to go, maybe I can start to roll. But after he bobbled the dunk,
that's when I knew it was over.
And as he said, he came in with a finger roll that got clear to the basket, and it came up
it was short. It's almost like an air ball.
Wow.
It's like, LeBron, you're up. Your head's almost on the rim, and you missed that?
That really got the crowd going into it. And
he missed a couple more in the second half where he got all the way to the rim, and it's just, golly, finish that, LeBron. I don't think LeBron will shoot that poorly again. Maybe he will. He hadn't. Especially the 3-pointers, because he's not been shooting threes well at all in the playoffs.
It doesn't matter. They haven't lost a game at home. They're different when they're at home.
And that's kind of my only argument is that if they win those 2, put the pressure back on Denver.
Let's not forget, the WNBA starts tonight. The Mercury play tonight.
Yeah, we're going to know that. Are you going to give us your WNBA update this morning?
I'll give it after the first game. There's a big one. It's a big one.
Okay, that'll be fun. We'll also pick up the baseball. Longhorns, great win last night. Get you into your weekend. Preview it. PGA Championship. They're trying to wrap up round 1 and then tee off round 2 this morning. From Rochester, we'll keep you posted on that as well. It's a busy Friday, and we're just getting warmed up, and we appreciate you being there. However you find us, 104.9. 1019, AM 1260, streaming always on your Horn app, on your smart speaker, and at hornfm.com. Folks, the B&E Show each morning, presented by Bud Light and our great friends at Brown Distributing. Bud Light, of course, the world's favorite light beer, has been for more than 4 decades. Bud Light's also the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas Axis, and the Texas OU game. October 7th at the Cotton Bowl. And this all-gas, no excuses run to the Big 12 championship for the Longhorns. Bud Light, of course, fueling that in 2023 for the Longhorns. And for 60 years, the Brown family and Brown Distributing have been a tremendous partner to Texas and Texas athletics and an amazing supporter of everybody in Central Texas. BDC, Brown Distributing, donates close to $1 million to various nonprofit and civic and educational organizations on an annual basis, sponsoring over 500 charitable events throughout Centex, including Bucky's Mullet Open every single year. Appreciate our friends at Brown Distributing and Bud Light every single day. And remember, Coke Fest, they're a proud sponsor of Coke Fest as well, coming up early August. Our friends down at Coke FM, and what a lineup they have on tap this year. The tickets are going fast. Whiskey Myers, Sammy Kershaw, William Clark Green, John Party, a headliner, Riley Green, and many, many more. Get all your tickets at CokeFest.com. That's brought to you by Michelob Ultra and HEB. And our great friends at Brown Distributing and Bud Light, bringing you the B&E Show every single morning. Tip one back this weekend. Be safe and smart. Always do it with a great plan with an ice-cold Bud Light and our friends at Brown Distributing. Friday on the Horn, B&E with you. Keeping an eye on the PGA Championship. They're wrapping up round one. Your leader continues to be Eric Cole. He is 5 under through 14. Still has to finish 4 more holes here on the round one. Bryson DeChambeau, the clubhouse leader at this point. Scotty Scheffler just a stroke back, along with Corey Connors, Dustin Johnson. All 3 shot 67s in their first round. But Boom Boom DeChambeau won't tee off till this afternoon, nor will Scotty Scheffler.
He looks
Corey
good,
Connors.
doesn't he, his body-wise?
Oh, yeah, he slimmed down. He said he stopped he changed his diet because he felt like he was too muscle-bound. But, yeah, he looks like
He still hits it long now.
Between he and Phil Mickelson, who all of a sudden has like a jawline, and he's like looks like. I mean, there was a shot of him late in the round when the sun was going down, and it was like a silhouette from behind him. You're like, that's Phil Mickelson. Look how skinny he is. It was almost like a shadow.
What happened
of him.
to his boobs?
Yeah, where did big old chubby Phil Mickelson go? A lovable chubby Phil. No, he is he's in great shape in his early 50s now, and doing it. And yeah, DeChambeau says that he what do you say? He went from a 5,000 calorie a day intake to about 2,900.
Wow.
He says he's down to about 210, 215. He lost 18 pounds in 24 days on a diet that he began last year. He also said
Ooh, that's a lot of work to keep up what he was doing, because he was a monster.
he also stopped eating foods that inflame his body, he said. No more corn, wheat, gluten, and dairy products. And lost nearly 20 pounds in 25 days. And, yeah, he looks considerably
I need a little
lighter,
information.
but he's still banging it. I mean, he went 313 yards off the tee. And, he won the U.S. Open on a very difficult golf course, very similar to this one at Oak Hill. And so he's got the game to do it. And Bryson DeChambeau, that's not a name we've heard much of.
And some of the guys like DeChambeau and Scheffler yesterday, the rough didn't bother them. They came right out of the rough. They went through that rough, and that stuff was thick. But they knocked it so long, they didn't have that far to go.
Well, that's right. That's why it's a bomber's course. Because it's not as penal. I mean,
right.
when you're that far down,
trees or anything else like that.
When you're that far down, you can get a club on it and still get it up in and around the green. And on the green, a lot of times, there won't be much spin on the ball, but at the same time, you can manage the course, make pars, and then when you're in the fairway, you want to attack it and try to make some birdies. Also, Rory McIlroy, I thought he had some struggles early, but then finished just 1 over, so he's right in the mix and looked better in the back nine than he did. Scotty Scheffler, he's right where he wants to be.
Absolutely.
3 under par. It's what he does. Puts himself in the mix almost every time now. Only, Jordan Spieth and Jon Rahm were 2 top guys that did not have good days. And what the hell was Tom Kim doing climbing in the mud? See this guy?
What is up with that guy?
6 tee shot? I don't – I mean, I guess he was trying to save a stroke is what he was trying to do, not have a lost ball. And, this dude climbed into the mud and came out. And, dude, he had to go change his whole outfit. And it was cold there. This dude's climbing in the mud out on the just off the 6th tee box. Come on, man. Now he's a viral sensation. Tom Kim. But, yeah, PGA Championship in Rochester. We'll keep you posted. We'll get back to the Longhorn baseball. I know Craig Way will have more on that coming up. We had a great call last night of 3 home runs from Porter Brown, Dylan Campbell with a big home run, and the Longhorns with a dominant performance over West Virginia last night, welcoming them into the dish. But the great news came right ahead of the game when Tyrese Hunter. We've been waiting on Tyrese's decision. I've heard from everyone that they're feeling really good that Tyrese will be back after doing the draft combine thing, and didn't even get invited to the actual combine itself after going through the process. And he made that decision yesterday. Tyrese Hunter will be back for the Longhorns, which gives them a returning veteran presence in the backcourt. That can only be a good thing for the Longhorns. Backcourt's looking good.
Player, yes.
I mean, that's a good piece for the Horns. And if Max Asmus, you got 4 years of film to watch on Max Asmus. You can go to YouTube and watch that dude. He can score and he can play. He is a really, really good player. And Kendall Weaver from UT Arlington, also real good player. I mean, that's the formation of a pretty darn good backcourt. And don't you have to think Tyrese Hunter, having been through the draft process, remember he went through that slump last year, but by the end of last year, he was playing really good basketball and helped the Longhorns get to a Big 12 tournament championship in the Elite Eight. I think Tyrese Hunter comes back with something to prove here.
Yeah, I know he will, but I don't really know. Once again, you don't need him to be a big scorer. Those other 2 guys, that kid Asmus can score. I mean, he's one of those guys either you're going to see in those high teens in the 20s and can get you a 30-some point game every once in a while. I think he's that kind of player.
And you hope the chemistry comes quick. I mean, that's going to be the quad challenge for Rodney Terry, a former point guard himself, is getting these guys, because because I agree with you. I mean, last year Tyrese Hunter averaged 10.5 points a game. As a freshman at Iowa State, he was 11. I mean, if you're Rodney Terry and you could get him to 12 or 13 points on average a game, but the assist number goes up.
Yes.
Right. He goes from 2.5 assists to 4.5, 5 assists a game. Working with Max Abmas in the backcourt, working with the bigs. Of course, the big kid from Virginia is coming in through the portal. Caden Shedrick. You got Dylan Dessou coming back.
There'll be a lot of rebounds to be had because I got a feeling. I mean, if Hunter doesn't shoot the ball, these other two kids are that ball is going up. It's not going to be like when they used to go into the deep hole with the other guards. This ball is going up. They're making their moves and they're going to the basket. They're really good athletes too.
Well, the thing you love about Abmas is he shoots a lot, but he makes a lot.
Yeah.
He's an efficient offensive player. If you watch him at Oral Roberts, where he was the 2-time conference MVP and averaging 22 points a game,
he's got a little bit of. You mentioned this guy the other day. He's got a little bit of Lloyd Free in him. Lloyd B.
Oh man, World B. Free.
He's got a little bit of that in him.
He's littler than World B. Free,
but he's got some of that in him.
Well, he's just a really, really good shooter. He's out of Dallas Jesuit, and he.
Who was the guy who was here years ago that I used to love? That was just a volume shooter at Texas.
How far back are you going? Reggie Freeman?
No. Afterwards.
Well, he's really quick off the jump. He's only a 6-foot guard. He's not. But boy, can he pull up and hit it quick. I mean, he shoots 40% from 3-point. He shoots 90% from the foul line. He's just a really, really good shooter and really good player, good ball handler. So that they would call him a combo guard, but he will facilitate offense. But he can create offense for himself. And he's going to be a handful off of pick and rolls in the handoff game because he's got such a quick shot. And that's what he was so good at Oral Roberts. Now, does that translate into the Big 12? I think so. 4-year starter.
No, he won't dribble as much as Marcus Carr. He's going to go. He's going to make his move and be gone or take his jump shots.
Well, and now it'll be interesting. And again, I think the formation of the roster is built. We'll wait on Dylan Mitchell to make his decision, but more and more looks like he's leaning to keeping himself in the NBA draft, which then that decision could come down pretty shortly. The thing about Dylan Mitchell is he's having a really good combine. He got invited to that combine, and he's playing really well, especially on the offensive end of the floor. So Dylan is helping himself quite a bit, which might lead him to stay and see if he can get drafted in the draft this summer in one of the two rounds. So the formation of the backcourt is built, and on the front court what you're coming back with. And I still think the Longhorns are going to be active in this portal for 3, maybe even 4 more players. They're going to still be looking for depth. And you got to be thinking, if you're Rodney Terry, we got to try to find somebody in here that because Max Abmas is a 1-year guy, right? He's only got 1 year left, I think, right? Who knows how the rules work these days? But Max Abmas is coming in as a graduate transfer from Oral Roberts and has 1 more to go. Tyrese Hunter, you think this would be it? You're gonna have to build some depth, or you're doing this every year. But the front court though is shaping up to be, it'll be a bigger team this year, right? It'll be a taller team than you were, mainly because of the Virginia transfer Shedrick, who's 6'11", 6'11 and a half with a long wingspan. He's exciting because we already know, coming from Virginia, he was asked by Tony Bennett to anchor their defense and be a rim protector and rebound, not do much on the offensive end, and that's not an offensive program. He's coming to Texas because they want to help him develop his offensive game on top of the defense. You're getting a 6'11 guy in the post who can play next to Dylan Dessou and give you some length on the front court. And then, of course, your backcourt builds. Brock Cunningham is coming back as well. So like where this roster is going. They also brought in the 6'8 kid from UTEP, who Rodney Terry originally recruited, and he adds to the front line as well. So they got about a core of 9 guys right now that you feel pretty good about.
A decent front line, too.
Front line, backcourt. Yeah. And now I think they'll be looking depth. Now, the name that you're hearing all Longhorn fans, really everybody in college basketball talking about, is the kid Caleb Love, right? Caleb Love, who was transferring from North Carolina, tried to go to Michigan, but the word yesterday was his grades didn't transfer.
They don't do too much school at North Carolina.
And that's not a joke about North Carolina, but that's true. Like he couldn't carry his grades into Michigan. So I don't know how that would translate to Texas, but at the same time, Caleb Love is a really good player. And we just talked about the Longhorn backcourt.
We can make it work out.
We can make it work.
We'll take that Ethiopian studies credit.
Yeah, we can make it work.
What are the classes they take at North Carolina? Remember they got in trouble for making up classes for athletes?
Drawing with crowns.
Drawing with crowns.
They had African American studies or something.
That's everywhere.
That's everywhere?
They have that class everywhere.
Did you take it?
You take it?
Southwest Texas, they didn't have it there?
Thought about it.
I thought about it.
This says the guy's Dylan Mitchell now projected to go to the Spurs in the second round. Okay. Yeah, I saw Mike Finger, who writes for the San Antonio Express News, has had the quote from Dylan Mitchell that he's really having a great time playing at this combine, thinks he's excelling, and kind of feels like he's that close to fulfilling his dream of playing professional basketball. So keep an eye on that. This A.J. Abrams, is that who you're thinking of?
No.
The shooter for Texas?
No.
A.J. could shoot it, bro. Man, he can.
Another guy used to come off the bench and just go nuts, shoot every time he had the ball. I kept saying, I mean, talking about volume, he just kept going.
I'm drawing a blank on who you're trying to think of for the Longhorn basketball team.
Oh,
but
one of these guys will get it.
Well, I mean, you can have some fun if you go watch and you like basketball and watch Max Asmus and his highlight film from Oral Roberts, and there's a lot of it. 4 years and averaged 20 points a game. He's a really good offensive player, and you can build an offense around him. I mean, he's the type of guy that comes in as preseason, first team All Big 12 kind of thing, that he can have that kind of impact. And I think Tyrese Hunter can have preseason All Big 12 conversations. And the other guy that they brought in from UT Arlington, you can watch his film as a freshman, Kendall Weaver out of the Metroplex. That kid is really athletic in both ends. I mean, he plays really good defense with long arms, and then can really stroke it from the offensive end as well. And so the Longhorn, that's the makings of your backcourt. But you would, if Caleb Love had interest in Texas, I mean, you'd be interested. I'm not saying he had, but if you're Rodney Terry and now Michigan is where he's headed, now he's opened it up again, I think you'd have to get in on that conversation, wouldn't you? But
for sure,
we'll see. Longhorn's still looking to add some pieces, but the formation of a pretty good foundation for 2023. Longhorn baseball season coming to a climax here at the end of the regular season. Craig Way will have more coming up. 12-2 dominant victory last night for the Horns, taking down West Virginia. Also back into the Lakers and Nuggets, and the Nuggets up 2-0. They are 2 wins away from their first ever trip to the NBA Finals. We'll preview that as well. Also on 3 Sports yesterday. Yesterday was 100 days to the first college football game. Notre Dame will play Navy over in Ireland. That's the first game of the college football year. It's in Dublin. And so 100 days out, On 3 Sports came out with their top 100 players in college football for 2023. Top 100 players. We'll tell you coming up in our Coach's Corner next hour which 4 Longhorns made it and which 2 should have made it that didn't. I mean, this is unbelievable in my mind. We'll get to that coming up. Also, some B&E facts of the day. First, here's Craig. B&A, thanks to everybody who were making suggestions on the guard,
they got it.
Shooting guard tech that Bucky was trying to think of. Jacobin Brown, the answer.
Yeah, he would be in for 3 minutes, but he was going to jack up at least 8 shots. It was automatic 8.
Dude, the guy he averaged 20 points a game one season.
Good Lord, that guy could jack it up.
Forgot about Jacobin.
Jacobin's still playing, by the way.
Come on now.
Professionally, yeah, in Israel. Plays in Israel. You know, he finished at Texas in 2012, so he's only in his early 30s. He's still playing. He's playing in Tel Aviv on a team in Israel. Still playing basketball. Yeah. Jacobin Brown.
Boy, he could keep it warm in a hurry.
What about Jordan Hamilton?
I don't think Jordan's still playing. I could be wrong.
I loved him.
Well, remember, that was the team that climbed to number 1 for Rick Barnes into early January, and then just the team just disintegrated.
Yeah, Jacobin, I just stayed there, and I wouldn't I kept my eyes right on TV because you couldn't. That guy was going to fire it up. It was going up some way, somehow.
Who was the wing / power forward? He hit a game-winning shot against Iowa State one year at home. He had big ears, shorter hair.
Huh.
If anybody can remind me of his name, it wasn't Jordan.
Old
Hamilton.
big ears.
Old big ears. All right. Well, there you go. Go back to work now, people. Thank you. Guess Bucky's now got to guess ties.
Thank you for the Jacobin Brown.
For sure. B&E facts of the daytime. We do it before the 7 o'clock, top of the 7 every morning, and there were a lot of them last night, including an incredible hockey game.
Wow.
They played 4 overtimes last night in the Eastern Conference Finals with Carolina playing Florida. 4 overtimes. So a full 60-minute game and then 4 overtimes. The 6th longest game in Stanley Cup playoff history, and it was 13 seconds from going to the 4th overtime when Matthew Tkachuk made a goal, scored a goal.
No, it was 14 seconds away from going to the 5th overtime.
That's what I'm saying, 5th overtime. They were in the end of the 4th. They were going to a 5th, which would have taken it up the pecking order on the longest hockey games ever. But where it read the Tkachuk with a goal with about 13 seconds to go to avoid a 5th overtime.
What
Incredible.
A huge win. I mean, what that does for your psyche. You basically played 2 games in 1, and you got the win. Going into game 2, you're double as tired. That's huge in my mind.
Yeah, mentally for sure. Yeah, you're going to be exhausted for game number 2. Also, John Rahm yesterday at the how bad was he at the PGA Championship?
Real bad.
He posted the worst opening round score to par, +6 by a world number 1 ever at the PGA Championship. 6 over for a world number 1. The distinction was previously held by Greg Norman in 1990 and Tiger Woods in 2005. They both shot 5 over. But Rahm was not good, and he is not in contention right now. Bryson DeChambeau, the biggest name at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, you get around
leader.
+5, even in this tournament, you're going to have some problems. +2 maybe, +5, yuck.
Yeah, if you're +2, 3, even Jordan Spieth at +3, you know, this is going to be a really tough golf course into the weekend. And DeChambeau, remember, it's a par 70, so DeChambeau with a 66 to be at 4 under. I think the winning score will
could be 6 under, could be 8
under.
under.
About that, right? So if you have a good day today, you're going to put yourself right in the mix. But how about the fact of this game last night? Jamal Murray finished with 23 points in the 4th quarter. He was absolutely unbelievable. But it is his 4th career 20-point 4th quarter in the playoffs. That's the most of any player over the last quarter century. This guy is a clutch performer, and flat out for the first 2 games, the stars for the Nuggets, Murray and Jokic, have outplayed the stars for the Lakers, LeBron and Davis. Now, Anthony Davis had a 40-point game in Game 1, but he was rough last night. He got good looks. He and LeBron, he didn't go in last night. And that's the story of that series. They're down 2 games to none. How about this? LeBron James has now missed 19 straight three-pointers in the 4th quarter, dating back to Game 2 of the first round with Memphis. That's the longest streak of any player in the last 25 postseasons. Okay, LeBron, stop shooting threes.
No, you got to take those threes.
But the other part is they're letting him get to the lane. I mean, they're spreading the floor, and LeBron can get to the cup anytime he wants. And it's not like Nikola Jokic is a rim protector. They don't have one. But then he's missing these bunnies.
He's trying to get this momentum thing going with these threes for some reason. Trying to get himself going.
He's losing it.
He just wants to see it go in.
Yeah, well, it's hitting that rim.
Clank.
And they're still not getting back on the breaks.
Well, this would be my argument. In Game 1, when LeBron was shooting threes, and you got to go to Anthony Davis, who's scored 40 points and has the hot hand. Last night, Rui Hachimura, guy didn't miss a shot. Why are you guys taking shots when you're cold and you got a guy who hadn't missed a shot on the night who the Nuggets have no answer for? I didn't understand that either.
They missed like 10 straight field goals at one point.
Those 2, I know. I understand the Stars.
The team as a whole, for like a 7-minute stretch, they missed like 10 straight. They're lucky Denver wasn't shooting as well during that stretch, or I think they would have won by 10 plus.
They won by 5. Lakers going back to L.A. for game number 3 tomorrow night. Of course, tonight will be game number 2. Heat and Celtics will preview that coming up. Also, On3 Sports has ranked the top 100 college football players for the upcoming season, 100 days to the start of the year. Longhorns have 4, and they probably should have 6. We'll tell you that list coming up. We'll also talk more on Tyrese Hunter and his decision. And the Longhorn baseball team, emphatic Game 1 win over West Virginia last night. Does that set up them for a run here through the weekend? We'll certainly preview that as well. Part of a busy Friday here on the Show of the People. Appreciate you being there here on the Horn. Start it up. That's your Friday, starting up your weekend. Maybe it started last night for you out at Dishfalk Field. Emphatic win for the Longhorns. Maybe you're part of the Occupy Left Field group and had some coldies, watched a dominant Longhorn victory, and then you're just going to keep rolling right through the tailgate for tonight's game, too, at 6:30. Not a bad idea. Not a bad plan. But weekend is here, and it's a busy one. Got NBA playoffs, Final Four. Nuggets 2 up on the Lakers. Lakers just got to get their star players playing better because LeBron James was a bricklayer last night, and Jamal Murray was in fuego, as they say. Unbelievable performance for him as they took a deficit, headed into the fourth quarter. The Lakers were in the lead in the game. They were up double digits. I thought they were playing a really good game. Fourth quarter became all about Jamal Murray. Made everything he threw up there in that fourth quarter and was incredible as the Nuggets take game 2. And are 2 wins away from their first ever trip to the NBA Finals. We'll preview that as well. So busy weekend. Got golf, PGA Championship. Starting to try to wrap up round 1 and get into round 2 at Rochester. Good leaderboard as we set up.
Tom Kim, I would have gone home. I seriously, I would have gone soft. It's too wet, too cold.
Yeah, I don't know.
I said I'll see you guys the next tournament.
When Tom Kim on the 6th hole hit it in the creek.
6th hole.
I don't think he thought it was going to be that muddy. Like he sunk. And because he got his pants rolled up, he took his shoes and socks off. He thought he was going to be able to get to his ball and save a stroke. But, yeah, he sunk in that
the
upstate
bog?
New York mud, the bog, and it got up to his over his kneecaps. And you're right, it was a cold day, right? I mean, they started with a freeze warning, and that was
put those socks back on with those shoes.
Yeah, man, muddy pants. That's what you do, though. Save that stroke. It's a major championship. So we've got golf on the brain, baseball and basketball, and some football. We'll get into the Longhorn situation. As we mentioned, the On3 Sports site has put out its top 100 players in college football for 2023, 100 days to the first college football game. I'll have that for you coming up as well. Should be a good weekend. Ty, you had the Nuggets minus 5.5 last night.
Yep.
Ouch. 108-103. Vegas has got this, right? The first game was a push because it was a 6-point line. Nuggets won by 6. Last night they shaved it to a half a point to 5.5. And the Lakers kept it within 5. It was a 108-103 final in the victory there. But yeah, I mean, good basketball. That's Vegas kind of has this. And tonight they have the Celtics as almost a 10-point favorite. I mean, I'm sitting here going, I'm taking that. This Jimmy Butler run that he's on, this Miami Heat team, the advantage Eric Spoelstra has over Joe Mazzulla. I'm still just dumbfounded that in that unbelievable third quarter run that the Heat went on, that Joe Mazzulla didn't call a single timeout. I mean, think about the coaching mismatch there where one coach is over there with deer in the headlights. But not only did they outscore you by 21, I mean, 46 points in a quarter is absurd. Your coach didn't call a single timeout. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, your best player in Boston, only took 4 shots in the quarter. And he didn't take a single shot in the fourth quarter. It's like, Mazzulla, what are you doing? You can't throw it all on your players. You got to help your players out here. And it didn't feel like he did in that game. And Eric Spoelstra got it exactly where he wanted in that victory. Also, as we talked about yesterday, the big loser in that Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals was YouTube TV. I mean, you must be the only one, Ty, because everything I saw yesterday was that YouTube didn't have the end of the game.
Again?
No, the game on
the
other night, the Heat-Celtics Game 1.
I didn't notice. I mean, I was watching it on my phone, and it was working.
Okay.
So.
But then it, like if you were watching the game on YouTube all over the country, it went out for the last 5 or 8 minutes of the basketball game, which now everybody's panicked because YouTube, of course, is the new home of. And if it was about a too much capacity issue, right? If there were too many people logged onto YouTube TV to watch it.
Wait till you get to football season?
Yeah, wait till you get to football season.
I don't think that was the issue. I have no idea the situation. Is that what they're saying?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Now I have not seen
too many people.
That's the question, right? If YouTube
isn't YouTube owned by Google?
Yes.
You would think they would have the computing power.
Could have been a technical glitch, but at the same time, if it's about this is a big East Coast game, right? This is the Boston Celtics. This is Miami Heat. A lot of fans on the East Coast watching this game, and a lot of people are switching over to YouTube TV right now. I'm about to do it because of the DirecTV package. So you're making that move, and if it was a capacity issue and you missed the climax of Game 1 of an Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, just wait till you get to football, and people are trying to watch YouTube TV for football. They better get that right. And
wait till they get to the Cowboys when they're trying to kick a field goal for a win.
Exactly. Well, look, we know that
wow.
last
Brett
year.
Maher?
We know the last year and the last several years, the NFL is the number one TV show in the world. I mean, it's 90 of the top 100 TV shows every year now. NBA's has had good ratings in these playoffs, but it's not close to the number of people watching an NFL game on a Sunday. If that is about a capacity issue, you're.
Someone said is it the bandwidth?
I don't know what the tech is. I haven't seen a statement from YouTube. I just know I saw a lot of anger from YouTube subscribers that were like, wait a second, where the hell did the game go? And you know how those Boston Celtic fans can get, Buck. They can get a little surly.
Oh, they'll go nuts now.
Get a little mad. Well, they're Celtics. And their Celtics are collapsing, and their coach didn't do anything about it. We'll get into our coach's corner here in a minute. Let's get to our headlines, trending topics, including that great night for the Longhorns over at the Dish. UBO Business Services brings you the headlines and top stories on your Friday morning. How about the Longhorns? They welcomed the first-place team in the Big 12, West Virginia, to open up a 3-game set last night, and they welcomed them emphatically. How about a dominant 12-2 pounding of the Mountaineers? Longhorn outfielder downtown Porter Brown had himself quite a night, blasted 3 home runs, drove in 8 runs. Dylan Campbell, 3 for 4, including his 11th home run of the year. Also extended his program record hitting streak to 31 games. On the mound, it was the ace Lucas Gordon notching his 6th win of the season, 7 innings of 4-hit ball. He was in complete control. The win keeps Texas in the hunt for at least a share of the Big 12 regular season championship. They have to win the remaining 2 games against the Mountaineers to pull that off. Game 2 is tonight, 6:30, live here on the Horn. LeBaron Johnson Jr. gets the start for the Longhorns. West Virginia will counter with 7-game winner Blaine Traxel. Texas softball will begin playing the NCAA tournament today. They'll host Seton Hall as part of a 4-team regional at McCombs Field. Texas State and Texas A&M are also a part of that double elimination tournament. Great news late yesterday for the Texas basketball program. Official word that junior-to-be point guard Tyrese Hunter is returning to the Longhorns for another season after testing the NBA draft waters. He started all 38 games this past season for the Longhorns in their run to the Big 12 tournament championship and the Elite Eight. He joins a rebuilt backcourt that now includes himself, Oral Roberts transfer scoring machine Max Asmus, and Texas Arlington transfer Kendall Weaver. NBA playoffs last night, top-seeded Denver, now 2 wins away from their first-ever trip to the NBA Finals. They beat the Lakers, held them off in Game 2, 108-103, thanks to a scintillating fourth-quarter performance from their emerging star Jamal Murray, and a cold shooting night from both Lakers stars, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Murray, with the Nuggets trailing 3 points going to the fourth quarter, down 79-76. Murray proceeded to pour in 23 of his game-high 37 points in that 12-minute period. Had 6 of 7 from the floor, hit 4 3-pointers, made a bunch of free throws down the stretch. His red-hot shooting fueled a 15-1 run early in the quarter that separated the game. Nikola Jokic added another triple-double, 23 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. As for the Lakers, their 2 stars, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, shot a combined 13 of 34 from the floor last night, included 1 from 9 on 3-pointers. Games 3 and 4 are back at Staples Center in L.A. They are undefeated in L.A. so far in this playoffs. Baseball last night, after Astros and Rangers both enjoyed the day off, they're going to open weekend home series tonight with last-place teams. Texas will host Colorado for 3 games, Houston hosting Oakland for 3. Round Rock, a 4-1 loser to El Paso. All right, so busy night, good stuff. LeBron and Anthony Davis have to be better if the Lakers are going to be in this series at all. I would just say, because I'm defending the Lakers here, because you guys are both on the Celtics or on the Nuggets, and Ty, look at him shaking his head, hates the Lakers. So I never have rooted for the Lakers in my whole life. But Ty has driven me into this corner where I have to defend the Lakers because he's just so anti.
That's fine.
We like to have a balanced conversation here on the program. But, Lakers were in control of the game for most of the night, up 11 points at one point. The difference was Jamal Murray. He was just... He lit up when they needed him most. He had been cold for most of the night. He was, short on a lot of his shots for the first 3 quarters, and man, did he erupt. And the Lakers had no answer. Meanwhile, the Lakers stars couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat last night, and LeBron continues to take bad 3-pointers.
Yeah, that's the part that's is just, he can get to the hoop. He's still strong enough, athletic enough to get to the free throw line, but he just doesn't. He's settling for a lot of 3-point shots, trying to get the momentum going for himself.
And he's missing layups, too.
I missed like 4 layups last night.
I missed that one bunny.
He needs to quit taking the threes. He missed 6. He took 6 and missed all of them.
He went up like he was in a tomahawk.
He was going to.
Oh, yeah. And
he was going to.
I thought the funnier, they didn't make much of it last night.
Slammed off his nuts.
I thought probably couple possessions previous when he airballed a finger roll was even more heinous. I was like, LeBron, he got all the way to the cup and he went to finger roll it in, and was short, and Jokic jumped up and grabbed the rebound. And, like, that's 2 points right there. And then you miss a dunk, LeBron. You did that again in the fourth quarter. It's like, dude, finish layups. You're LeBron James, for crying out loud. But he is old, maybe showing signs of that age.
He looks a little old.
Yeah, I mean, and
he got a lot. He's got some wear and tear.
Here's what I would say to LeBron: first 2 games. Listen, go back to your days in Akron, Ohio. Facilitate. Just become the point guard. You've got a guy, Rui Hachimura, who hasn't missed a shot on the night. Austin Reeves is hot. Get your teammates involved if you're on a cold shooting night. You can do that.
But Anthony Davis couldn't score last night either.
I know, that's true. And that's the problem, right? When those two combined.
And I said, Jokic had a very quiet triple-double. That's really weird, but that was pretty quiet.
Well, but I disagree, because a lot of those 12 assists came in that fourth quarter when he was feeding Jamal Murray. Now, a lot of Jamal's threes came off of, pick and pop at the top of the key, where he was just, the Dennis Schroeder was trying to go under the pick, and he was shooting over the top of him.
Yeah, they didn't play that very well.
They did not.
But that pick and roll for him is just not just him and Jokic. It's everybody in their team for Murray. When he comes, they get ready to set a pick for him because he'll fire it from everywhere.
Yeah, but I felt like they'll play it differently. But going into the fourth quarter, if you're watching the game, if you're the Lakers, you kind of want him to take those shots because he wasn't making them. I mean, he had been like 1 for 6. And
they gave him like the last 2 of them.
Yeah, they're like, okay, keep shooting. You're like LeBron over here. You're not making anything. We'll let you have that. We don't want you to get down low. And he started to make them. What do you know? All of a sudden, everything's going in. He starts looking like Steph Curry out there with that quick release.
So is Murray an emerging star now, or has he been a star? What did he do? What did he hurt? Where did he hurt? His knee?
ACL, yeah. I mean, he was a star in the bubble. When they got to this far and lost to the Lakers in the Western Finals in the bubble, he was unbelievable. And that's when I should say he was an emerging star at 24 years old. But then he missed an entire season.
Yes.
And even this year, he was still trying to get back from that knee injury and get back to full speed. And now it feels like he's back to that point. He's 26 years old. And, yeah, man, that was some kind of clutch performance from him last night. He was outstanding. The best players on Denver are out playing the best players for the Lakers, and that's the story after 2 games as they head back to L.A. Let's dive into our Coach's Corner just after 7:15, brought to you by our great friends at Audio Visual Consultations. Assuming Tom will be on the glass or near the glass at the Stanley Cup Western Conference Finals tonight.
Oh, he'll have his face all smushed up on the glass.
Texas Stars.
Making faces.
Or is that game in Vegas?
It's in Vegas.
It is in Vegas.
So
Tom will likely not be there.
Maybe
Tom will go.
Refs.
Maybe Tom will go.
He called me the other day and said they were planning on going up for at least one of I think it's game.
For Vegas?
I think for the second game in Vegas.
That would make sense.
It's in a few days.
I think that's Sunday. Game 1 tonight of that series. Last night's Carolina series. Florida game went to 4 overtimes. Carolina won that one 3-2. Hey, Buck, let me play this for you because yesterday it's, we have a visit every Thursday with David Pierce, Longhorn head baseball coach, and talked to him yesterday morning on game day and asked him about Porter Brown because we in our conversations during the weeks, we haven't talked much about Porter, who has been such a clutch performer. So I said, tell me about Porter Brown, what he's brought as a transfer from TCU, graduate, veteran player with a lot of Big 12 experience. And here was David Pierce talking about the outfielder who proceeded to have a 3-home run, 8 RBI night to launch this series for the Longhorns.
First of all, those eyes they're so different. They're green with like a stare. When you look at him, I sit and face him in the dugout after pregame, and we have our one-on-one and just kind of have a light moment. But we always talk about his eyes. They're unbelievable. They have a different look to them, and you can't. It's crazy. You can't take your eyes off of his eyes.
Hazel eyes.
Yeah, but they're just very cool looking, I guess. But he's been awesome. He's come in with some experience. He's played in postseason. He's worked his tail off to become a really good left fielder. And that was our comfort of getting him in one spot and letting him learn every ins and out part of that position, playing in the corner at the dish, getting better at going to the gap. But his arm has continuously improved as well. But as a teammate, he's very smart, so he's intelligent, and he comes up with some great one-liners with his teammates. But they've accepted him. He's accepted and has loved being here and has been a rock, like you said, in our lineup. He's got the ability to put a team on his back for a month and really take off. And he's shown spurts of that. So hopefully he's got a lot of excitement for the team and for the fans in front of him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, the hand and the eye model have been just taken for granted, I think, throughout the years. We've got to do a better job of that. They're people. We're people, too. You know what I mean, E?
What's that?
I said, we're people, too.
Absolutely. Well, Porter Brown, as he just said, you can put him on your back and put a team. He did last night. His home run in the second inning, that big 3-run shot. You felt like the Longhorns were off to a good start, but in the first inning, they had they had 4 hits and they only scored 1 run. And you think, oh, man, are they going to waste this opportunity? Then the second inning, they got runners on board again, and Porter came up for the second time and delivered a big 3-run homer. But the first of 3 home runs on the night, and the Longhorns are off to a great start in that series. So got to win both of them. West Virginia's in the spot where they know they really have to win 1 game. If they can get a game here, they eliminate Texas from the Big 12 regular season. They need a little bit of help from north of the Red River in that Oklahoma State series. But West Virginia's still feeling good. But as I said earlier, if the Longhorns can get out to a lead tonight with LeBaron Johnson Jr. on the mound, who's pitched like an ace himself of late for the Horns, you get this West Virginia team starting to grip a little bit.
They'll
on
be
the
gripping
road.
if they lose too, for
right,
sure.
Exactly. That's what you wanted. That's why you'd like to play with a lead tonight, and you'll continue because West Virginia, they don't want to come in here and not get a W. It's hard to sweep in the Big 12. I get that. It's hard to sweep in college baseball, but if you're going to do it, you're going to do it at home, especially with an emphatic performance like you just had last night. Can you build on that with LeBaron Johnson Jr. at 6:30 tonight? It'll be a big crowd, a Friday night crowd. There'll be a lot of tailgating ahead of it, have to imagine. For sure. All right, Buck, switching gears to football. 100 days to the start of the college football season. I mentioned On3 Sports came out yesterday with their top 100 players in college football. Longhorns have 4 of them, 4 of the top 100. Could you guess who they might be, my friend?
I got to believe that the offensive tackle is one of them.
Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks is one of them for sure.
Wide receiver.
Xavier Worthy is listed as the 21st best player in college football. Kelvin Banks, 51.
Quarterback
Quinn Ewers, according to On3 Sports, 75th best player in college football.
And from that point on, I'm kind of stuck.
Well, surprising that A.D. Mitchell, not surprising, A.D. Mitchell was on the list. So 2 wide receivers, according to On3 Sports. And then, I mean, if I'm making this ranking, I might, because I haven't seen A.D. Mitchell play for the Longhorns yet. Now, we saw him at Georgia, so I can see that as a projection. We saw him playing in
spring game,
big games. We saw him in the spring game. But where's Jalen Ford? Jalen Ford, who should have been the Big 12's Defensive Player of the Year a year ago at linebacker, he's not one of the 100 best players in America. Number 41, I got to think he is. And then I'd also have to put Jatavion Sanders in that conversation, the Longhorn tight end.
I don't know why Sanders yet. I mean, he's got all those tools, but he doesn't have all those kind of numbers yet.
Well, look, all these when you're ranking this, it's all projection for the most part. Now, look, their list has obviously Caleb Williams at the top.
Sure.
Drake May, the quarterback for North Carolina, at 2. Marvin Harrison Jr.
I got to believe Utah's quarterback, who's back again. Washington's quarterback, who's back for the 15th year.
The list is not by position; it's by number. So, but Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. A lot of people will argue that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in college football, regardless of position.
Right.
Remember, coming into last year, the consensus on that was Will Anderson Jr. Coming in from Alabama. That minus quarterbacks.
Sure, it didn't matter.
Will Anderson,
position,
best player, and right now that's probably Marvin Harrison Jr. If it's not him, you're talking about Brock Bowers, the tight end at Georgia, potentially being that guy. And they have Jared Verse, the edge player from Florida State, at 5, coming off the order there. Harold Perkins, youngster at LSU, already ranked 6th as a top 10 player in the country. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who the Longhorns will see week 2 at Alabama, at number 9. And then Kalen King, the quarterback from Penn State, rounding out the top 10. So 4 Longhorns making that. I think Jatavion Sanders would merit some conversation. And Jalen Ford, speaking of a guy who did it last year.
Yeah, he got it done. He
still seems to be a little bit underappreciated, even around the country. But follow it up with his performance last year and taking the reins of that Texas defense. Really impressive. They continue that. This defense will take another step in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, his name should be on that list. I mean, top 100.
Yeah, that would be
a long list.
Yeah, well, a lot of college football players too. But we'll post that for you so you have it. All right, so there's your coach's corner on that front. We'll also get you the high school baseball scores from last night. We previewed the games. There were some big ones around the area with Round Rock and Westlake, with Lake Travis cranking it up. We'll get you the scoreboard coming up on that. Also more on the NBA playoffs. Hit your hot or not before the end of this hour. It's a busy Friday into your weekend here on B&E. Getting tough and tight in the Big 12 after last night. Longhorns beat West Virginia like a drum, 12-2. Also last night, Oklahoma State ripped OU in the Bedlam series, 13-2. K-State beat TCU 7-6. So right now, West Virginia's lead over Oak State, Buck, is a game, and it's 2 games over Texas and K-State. So 2 games separating the top 4 teams, in West Virginia looking to clean it out or finish it off, but Texas is not going to make it easy on them.
No.
If last night is any indication, as they pulled out the big sticks and beat up on West Virginia. Remember, the West Virginia, their best pitchers are going to the hill in games 2 and 3 of this series. Texas just used their best pitcher in Lucas Gordon last night in the win. LeBaron Johnson Jr. gets the ball tonight. And as Coach Pierce let us know yesterday, Tanner Witt will again get the start in Game 3 on Saturday after his 3-inning performance in the game last weekend with San Jose State.
Getting him ready.
Yeah, they still feel like using him as a starter is the best way to go and see what they can get out of him. If you can get 9 outs even into the 4th inning, would be great. And he showed signs in his last start against San Jose State that he's getting there and feeling more and more confident. As for the high school baseball, Buck, we talk about how good these series. How about these games last night? In the clash of Central Texas baseball titans in high school, Round Rock played Westlake last night at Round Rock, and it was 0-0 into the 7th inning, the final inning, and Hudson Ellis walk-off RBI single. Dragons take game 1, 1-0. Walk-off. The place erupted at Dragon Stadium, that huge crowd that had showed up at 6 o'clock to see the spring game and then hung around to watch the baseball game. A lot of talent. I mean, there are so many good players between the Dragons and the Chaparrals, 2 state-ranked top 10 teams. So the first game goes to Round Rock. They'll play again tonight at Westlake. And if there's a third game necessary, I believe that would be played at Concordia. So the third game would be a neutral site is the way the coaches worked it out. So 1 home game each. And then if it's a third game decided is necessary, it'll be at Concordia this on Saturday. Also last night, Lake Travis got an unbelievable pitching performance, and they also won 1-0. They beat San Antonio Johnson. They're kind of seen as the underdog in that series with Johnson, one of the power out of San Antonio. O.J. Gonzalez, complete game, 1-hit shutout, 5 punch-outs in the victory. Also last night, Georgetown got beat by Lakeview out of Montgomery, 11-2 in game 1 of that series. So there you go. We'll get it into the weekend. And as we've said all week with that that Westlake Round Rock series, you hate to see it. This is the way it goes, though. One of those teams is going to get knocked out. I think either of them have a potential to win the state championship.
Yeah, so, the winner coming out of there.
Yeah, winner is a team that can win the whole thing in the 6A baseball. So props to Round Rock, Lake Travis, and Georgetown's got some work to do now after falling last night. So there's your high school baseball update. Also talking NBA and the busy weekend that is on tap. Now, tomorrow is the Preakness Stakes, correct, in horse racing?
It is.
And our man confidence game, not running.
Will not be running, no. Too soon.
Too soon, according to the trainers at Don't Call My Wife Stables. So there, and
may end up at the Belmont, the longest of the races.
It's a long one.
It is a long one. And down the stretch, they come for like 3 minutes.
To check in with Colonel Flowers here coming up this morning at some point and find out what's going on. Hey, by the way, the kid Eric Cole, who was leading at the PGA Championship, no longer leading. He had to finish his round this morning and finish with a couple of bogeys, gave 2 strokes back. He was up to 5, or is down to as low as 5 under, but he finishes with the 67, good for 3 under. So he'll tee off this morning.
His mom will be following him around all weekend.
How do we feel about Corey Connors?
Corey Connors is a good
Canadian
player.
I got a good feeling about him.
I saw Corey Connors win his first tournament down in San Antonio, the Valero, a couple years back. He's been very consistent.
Well, I hate to, where he played his college golf? Kent State University, baby, not far from where I grew up.
Ooh.
The Golden Flashes of Kent State. He's from Canada, though.
Yes.
He's a good player.
Jamal Murray from Canada, too?
Jamal Murray is from Canada. That's exactly right.
Trying to take over here?
Yeah, he was unbelievable. So right now, Bryson DeChambeau is the leader by himself after his 66 yesterday. The slimmed down, 20 pounds lighter Bryson DeChambeau since we've seen him on a big stage.
How about Adam Scott still hitting it with the big boys, the old man?
I don't want to be Joan Rivers, but how about Adam Scott wearing the worst brown pants?
Dude,
what was that dude wearing?
It was rust. It was awful. He was
wearing like Cleveland Brown poop pants.
You can't do that. That's not how you play, and you play good. You got all kinds of deals with clothing companies. You don't bring in rust pants with a red and blue striped
Did he
shirt.
look like a UPS driver?
No, he looked like
pants-wise?
Well, it was just so like a colorblind guy because
He was trying to make it
I will
match. He was trying to make that match
I think he was
with the
confused.
rust. I'm like, no.
And here we are being the fashion police. But
Yes, we are.
If you wore that to the tee box, your boys would clown you.
They would.
You'd get like, what are you wearing, man?
Did you get some rust on those pants or something?
You say rust, I say brown.
Wow.
They were like, I don't know. They were not. But okay, you wear brown pants, but you then can't wear an Aggie maroon shirt. That just looks terrible. But so he, but when he had his pullover on, he had like a navy blue pullover. It looked a lot better. But then he'd take.
I was
that
down with
thing off.
Scheffler in his yellow bird shirt. I was down with that look.
Scheffler looked good yesterday. He shot 67.
Got his navy blue pants on with a yellow pullover. I thought that was good. That was a good look.
Well, the thing about Scotty is he is such a scrambler, man. He wasn't great all the time yesterday, but he scrambles to save par as good as anybody in golf. And the story
he
is
made his putts yesterday.
He did, and if he makes putts, he's going to be fine.
Yes,
that's been his problem. Even at the Masters, he was all over the greens, all over the pin. He just missed a lot of putts at Augusta, and if he putts well, he's going to be really hard to beat. Bryson DeChambeau, though, 66, looking really good. We know he's won a U.S. Open on a course that's very similar to this one. Similar style, of course, and DeChambeau feeling comfortable yesterday with a 4-under round of 66. Michael Block, Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, Dustin Johnson, DJ. He shot a 67 yesterday. He'll tee off this morning in his second round because they are now done, I believe, with the first round. They had to, because of darkness, because of the 2-hour delay, they had to finish up this morning.
Yeah, Harold Varner, the Thursday, is preparing to pack up for the weekend. Sorry,
why do you got to
Harold.
pound that guy?
Come on, man.
He's your fellow brother.
I need that brother to win, but I just
know why
what's
Buck always gets on the brothers, man.
I just understand what's going to happen to Harold. That's all.
Because before it was Tony Finau. He's all over
Tony's
him.
my guy.
Now he's your guy.
Tony's my guy. He's won that
your
tournament.
guy was John Rahm, who blew up yesterday.
He
Shot
was
6
awful.
over. He was not good. Tony Finau, by the way, shot 72. He's +1.
That'll work. Max Homa in there, hanging in there.
Yeah, he is. Max Homa. Then look, no one outside of Rahm, nobody. Even Jordan Spieth at 3 over. When the leader is at 4, you're only 7 back. It takes him.
My wife always says, "Why are you rooting for that old guy, Rosie? You're always talking about Rosie." The old guy's still hanging in there.
Well, again, it's very jumbled, and it's only one round in. So unless you're John Rahm and you shot you 76 and blew it up, everybody's in it at this point because all it takes is DeChambeau to
absolutely
throw a couple bogeys out there, and all of a sudden he's back to -2 and 4, or down to even. If he struggles out of the gate today. So
I was asking you about the Pac-12. Are they going to get a deal? Are they going to get a TV deal? If they don't get a deal this year with some of the talented players that they have in the Pac-12, they're going to have problems because all those quarterbacks are gone after this year, right? Williams will be gone.
Are you talking about their media rights deal?
Yeah. They need to get a deal, don't they?
Well, we've been talking about that for months now with their commissioner has not been able to sell the conference and sell a deal without USC and UCLA, not to the numbers that the remaining 10 members want and are going to agree to. It's why the Big 12 is lurking and waiting to see what happens. And, they had their meetings 2 weeks ago, their latest round of meetings with the Pac-12 presidents and leaders. But the problem is there's not enough money. And Fox is spending huge dollars on the Big 10. Of course, that was the reason they wanted USC and UCLA to move into the Big 10, which now they have the largest deal. ESPN is spending huge dollars on the Big 12 and the ACC and the rest of college football, essentially. And there's just, the remaining members of the Pac-12 don't want to get in a situation where they lock themselves into a deal, kind of like the ACC did, where it's not even close to on par. Because once you do, you're locked in. But at the same time, if you have more freedom right now, independent, to be able to go somewhere else and land in one of these other conferences. But again,
it's a conference that you'd want to see. You're talking about quarterbacks. College football, they've probably got the best group of quarterbacks, I would think, right?
Yeah, but these media companies aren't buying the thing.
Well, they're not going to buy the 1 year. That's what I'm saying.
They're
not
going
buying
long term here. They're looking the next 15 years, and that's what does that product look like 10 years from now?
Well, it doesn't look like much without with UCLA and USC gone.
Right, and so I think, but the problem right now is there's no unity in the conference because Arizona State, Utah, even though they say they're not, and Colorado are leaving the door open to a possible move if they don't see the deal. And right now, you're talking about streaming services that are bidding. Klyavkov, their commissioner, is kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of them because he hasn't put a deal in front of them. And, the perception in the Pac-12 is that it was the Big 12's new commissioner and the Big 12 that acted quicker in expanding. As soon as Texas and Oklahoma announced that they were leaving, they went to work to add the Cincinnatis and the Houstons and the the BYUs. I mean, they were active, and so now the Big 12 is seen as a more attractive conference. And the Big 12 moved quickly to get a new TV rights deal with ESPN to make sure they were shored up there. And so now they're everybody's crunching numbers, trying to figure out what the future looks like. I still think a couple of those schools, maybe 4 of them, could end up in the Big 12.
I do too. I would agree with that. But one of those teams are getting into the playoffs this year.
Well, probably USC.
What about Utah once again? I mean, aren't they defending back-to-back champs?
They are, and they beat USC twice last year. Now, USC believes they've improved their defense through the portal to go with Caleb Williams and that dynamic offense.
Bo Nix got another year with Oregon.
Bo Nix at Oregon. Yeah,
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix at Washington, who Texas got to see up close in the bowl game.
Well, they got 4
excellent.
Quarterbacks. Pretty good.
Well, now they got Deion Sanders' kid, too.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. Those dudes aren't going anywhere.
Shakur Sanders.
You and I are about to get rich, Ty, when the season comes on Colorado.
Don't be scared when it's like 30 points. You got to take it.
It's 27. It's 27 with TCU, right?
I mean, what was the stat the other day? They're losing by an average of 24 points.
Yeah, that was a Joel Klatt defense. Joel Klatt's defense of Deion Sanders gutting the roster like he did was they were the worst team in college football by a mile last year.
Over the last 5 years.
Yeah, they just slipped. So he cut them all loose. But he's already added 40-plus through the portal, including his own son who will play quarterback. He thinks.
Yeah, I saw them in the spring. They were horrible.
Well, you saw that most of the guys that are going to be gone. I mean, what you didn't see was the guys that they're bringing in through the portal this summer. And, again, we won't see that until they start playing football in 100 days or so for Colorado. No, I don't think Colorado will be a contender by any stretch of the
I got them winning 3.
But that most expect that kid to be a really good quarterback. And that to your question of the media rights deal, the Colorado now with primetime, who's become a headline maker, and what the future looks like for Colorado. Well, if you're in the Big 12, wouldn't you love to add that?
You would take that.
Wouldn't you? I mean, even if you're in the Big 12 and you could add Colorado and one of the Arizona schools. Now, I think if you add those two, you'd end up adding Utah and the other Arizona school in time, just because it just makes too much sense to get yourself back to because look, if you added those 4 schools, the 4 corner schools as they call them, when Texas and Oklahoma leave, well, now you're to 16. You're at the same number as the SEC.
You're right.
You're playing in you have teams in the East time zone, Central and West and Mountain, and you have the ability to play in 4 time zones on a Saturday. I think that's attractive, and obviously Denver's a good market. Phoenix would be a good market and an emerging market for the media side of things with Arizona State, and then Utah. Well, immediately, because if you're in the Big 12, you're looking to replace Texas, Oklahoma. That's your rivalry, right? Well, BYU, Utah immediately becomes in as a rivalry game. Arizona State is immediately a rivalry game in your conference if you can get it. Now, again, it depends on the tenuous circumstances with the remaining 10 teams in the in the Pac-12. But again, I just don't see a partner. Now, maybe NBC gets involved at a level to try to own the West Coast. Somebody could, but everyone's trying to lowball the Pac-12 right now. Or not trying to.
So they started taking your teams.
They just don't see the numbers. Somebody also pointed out that DJ Uiagalelei.
Is it Oregon State now?
Transferred to Oregon State from Clemson, where Cade Klubnik will take over in 2023. All right, we'll come back. When we do, the Laker hater, the professional gambler, the Bitterman Ty will lead us through some hot or not topics. Before our top of the hour, we roll on a Friday, getting you into a busy weekend. It's B&E.
Folks, our good friends at AV Consultations, Tom McKay and the whole gang over there, they've got everything in stock just for you. They got the hottest items in stock. Of course, they have all those Sonos, and they don't raise the prices, which is absolutely fantastic. You can go to the big box stores all you want to, but you're not going to get a better deal than you'll get at AV Consultations. Give Tom McKay a call today and his staff at 512-255-8678. Call him today and get an appointment set up for everything that you need to have done. As I said, there's no need to go anywhere else. All you have to do is go to AV Consultations, just like I've done, and he and most of the people right here at our station. We love Tom McKay and what he's done, and thank you very much, Tom McKay, for your gift at the Mullet Open and the Mini Mullet. As a matter of fact, he's been doing that for years. But nobody does it better than AV Consultations.
Hot and not on this Friday. It was blazing hot yesterday. Temperatures in the 90s. It'll be that again today. Maybe a chance of rain this evening. Hopefully it holds off in time for that Texas baseball game. Interesting last night. Hot and not. First came the news that Tyrese Hunter will return for the Longhorns. That was great news for Rodney Terry. Expected, but finally got the official word that Tyrese will be back. Bringing that leadership and kind of anchoring that point guard position with Max Asmus, the Oral Roberts transfer. We'll talk about the Longhorn roster coming up. Also on the hot not side, how about Jamal Murray last night? He was ice cold for 3 quarters. I mean, he couldn't make anything. And then he got to the fourth quarter, and he made everything with a 23-point fourth quarter outburst that led he scored as many points in the fourth quarter as Nikola Jokic scored on the whole night in that 12 minutes. It was pretty impressive. And then LeBron James continues to clank 3-pointers, and he missed 3 easy layups last night. What are we doing?
He's going to have to get back in that layup line.
I mean,
before the
they
game
lost
start,
by 5. He missed
get
3
regular layups.
He missed 3. Even Magic Johnson, Big Magic Johnson, was tweeting, "I've never seen LeBron James miss 3 layups in a game." By the way, LeBron also had maybe the worst fake flop ever. I mean, really, when he got the foul call on Jokic, when he completely went...
he slammed his fist down on the ground.
Oh, yeah, and then the fan in the front row handed him a towel, and he's like, thanks. Well,
What did he get? Was that popcorn that he got and some beer?
Yeah, somebody spilled a drink on him, so they handed him a towel. I mean, it was a total flop job.
That was ridiculous.
It was great acting. Hollywood would be proud. But then on the other end, Nikola Jokic did it to him like a couple of possessions later. Same thing. LeBron just went to set up some defensive position, and he went flailing into the stanchion, which was pretty funny. He had a wry grin on his face, got him back, foul for foul. But in the end, I mean, Lakers, they can't win this series when he and Anthony Davis play that poorly.
Absolutely.
And it was just such a weird thing to watch the game, and you're thinking, when Jamal Murray started shooting those shots early in the fourth, you're like, keep taking them, Jamal. You're not making anything. And all of a sudden, splash. I mean, he found the clutch gene right at the right time.
Yeah, guys will have their little spurts and get it going, but Jimmy Butler's consistent throughout the game.
Well, I think that's the difference in that series, is the consistency in coaching of the Heat versus the inconsistency and lack of coaching of the Celtics. And the Celtics are going to win some games in this series. I just think over the course of a 7-game series, the Heat and that culture will win out. By the way, NBA teams have a record of 5-56 when trailing a conference finals 2-0, which the Lakers now do. 2 of those 6 series wins, though, were by LeBron James-led teams, 2007, 2018. So we'll see. They got to win both games in L.A. to have a chance. If they lose one of those 2 in L.A. Saturday or Monday, that series is over.
Who beat the Warriors when they went up 3-1? Was that LeBron?
It was LeBron, yeah, the Cavaliers in the comeback. He and Kyrie.
That was a lot different than LeBron back then.
For sure. Yeah, he didn't miss layups. I mean,
again,
I know
he was fumble fingers. He was going for the tomahawk dunk though on the one.
Well, that's the one where the ball just slipped out of his hands. The one right before it was even worse because he went dancing through the lane. There was no one near him.
He hit it underneath the rim.
And he got blocked by the underside of the rim on a finger roll. You're like, what are you doing? Come on, King.
And Kyrie hit one of the most clutch shots in NBA history in that series too to win it in Game 7.
Titus hates LeBron. Hates the Lakers.
Oh, there's a lot of people that hate LeBron, which makes I laugh at people that do that.
I know. Well, by the way, he also
he's not a good player. He's never
so unlikable. I'm not denying he's a top 3 player of all time in my mind, but he's just very unlikable.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but that's not either way. I understand. Same time, the other layup he missed, Buck, was when he jumped the inbounds pass late in the game, had a steal that could have
the reverse,
and then he went reverse underneath and clanked that one. And that was a big one because that was when they were making a run and the Nuggets were seeing
all those
the
reverse layups that you need a little spin on the ball that never spun.
Just go up and dunk it. I mean, you're 6'9". Just slam it down. Give me a break, LeBron. But yeah, that was atypical. Plus, he can't make any 3-pointers, and he and Anthony Davis were combined 13 of 34 on the night. T.Y., what you got for us in Hot or Not, my friend?
Speaking of LeBron James, Bronny James has signed his national letter of intent to attend USC.
Nice.
What do you think? What kind of impact does that have on college basketball next year? Is he the biggest name?
Probably similar to what Arch Manning will make on college football this year. Not much, right? Arch Manning's going to be a backup quarterback or a third-string quarterback. I will be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Bronny James playing basketball. I've heard he's good.
And LeBron has said that he's going to wait until Bronny's in the league so he can play with them for a few years, and then he'll retire. So we'll see if that's still the plan. But maybe a year. You think 1 year, 3 years, 4 years?
I don't think a
USC?
year.
I trust my guy Isaiah Collier on this more than anybody because he watches more
He
basketball than
watches,
anybody
yeah,
I know, and he says he's not a one and done player.
No, he's not.
So,
But you know who is number one recruit? Isaiah Collier, also attending USC.
yeah, the other Isaiah
Yeah.
Collier, the other Zay Collier. All right, thank you, Ty. All right, we'll get to some other hot or not topics. We'll roll into your Friday. High school baseball, college baseball, certainly some NBA, and keep you posted on the PGA Championship. The first round is officially in the books. They're about to tee off round 2 at Rochester, New York. It's a busy one on a Friday, getting you into your weekend on 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. Stream it always on your smart speaker, on your Horn app, and always at hornfm.com. Listen, Callahan's General Store, the power behind our tour of Central Texas golf courses. We've got a new one coming here. Been Onion Creek here the last month. We're about to announce the new spot coming up. But Callahan's General Store also for Central Texas homeowners is your spot. If you're seeking a lush green summer lawn year after year, because it's a process. It's not just for one summer. You want to keep that lawn coming back again and again and then lasting through the heat and that we're going to deal with every year in Texas. Callahan's everything. They also recommend that Sahara Bermuda grass seed. It's true to its name. It's Sahara Bermuda. It's a drought-tolerant strain of grass bred to grow thicker than common Bermuda in the heat of Texas. And now's the time, of course, hopefully you've already gotten that planted. At Callahan's, you have everything you need to get that started, the soil amendments, the fertilizers, helpful hints from their extremely knowledgeable staff. As I always tell you at Callahan's General Store, what really separates them is they have the best products and for your yard, but they also have the best people. And that's what they are. They're 45 years locally owned and family operated. The people that have worked there in large part have worked there for a long time, and they know their stuff year after year, helping you to purchase the right things, apply the things properly every time. It's Callahan's General Store. They're right there, 501 Bastrop Highway. It's really 183 between downtown and the airport, and still there after all these years. Since 1978, always a good day to make it a Callahan's Day. do another Bud Light at some point to make up for yesterday not doing it. So we'll figure it out. Put them together for Friday. Your weekend is here, and as I mentioned, some of you, it started last night out at the Dish. You Longhorn baseball fans fired up, big win. Horns hammer West Virginia. They're now 2 games back in the Big 12 standings with 2 games left in the regular season. As we mentioned earlier, though, also last night the Oklahoma State Cowboys won and K-State won. So now West Virginia's lead over Oak State is a game. And their lead over Texas and Kansas State, who have the identical conference record, is 2 games. So, and interesting, I was texting with Craig Way. We mentioned that the last night's starting pitcher for West Virginia was not one of their normal weekend starters. He was a freshman who started in Texas, beat him up bad. Obviously, they 12-2, and they scored a run in the first inning, but could have had more. And then they erupted the Porter Brown homer in the second. Made it a 6-0 game, and Longhorns were off and running. But it is interesting. That the skipper, the manager there for West Virginia, Buck, he rolled the dice here. He didn't go with his normal weekend starter here to try to secure the series. He put a freshman out there against Lucas Gordon, and tonight they're going to go with the guy who's normally their Saturday starter, who's won 7 games this year. Blaine Traxel is his name, but their normal Friday night starter is Ben Hampton, who's a junior left-hander. He normally starts Friday nights for them, and he's not starting tonight either. So they're waiting.
Ooh. And
Craig Way sent me a text and says that their starter for Saturday is still to be determined. I mean, their manager is Randy Mazey. He talked to the LHN last night, Keith and Greg Swindell, and he said there's no injury. So is he just kind of hoping to clinch this conference, maybe not even use him and have him ready to go to open up the Big 12 tournament? Who knows? But they put a freshman on the mound last night, and Texas took advantage of it. Meanwhile, Texas went with their ace, Lucas Gordon.
That could be a dang coaching mistake.
Could be, or it could be shrewd. Big picture, if they can go ahead and win one of these 2 games. But remember, they've got Oklahoma State breathing on their heels a little bit now, too. If they lose one more game to Texas and Oklahoma State wins again, they'll be even with Oak State atop the conference. So it's going to be very,
Seems
very interesting.
Late for change, doesn't it? That kind of change.
Yeah, and this could blow up in his face. If Texas if LBJ, if LeBaron Johnson Jr. pitches well, as like he has of late, he's like a second ace for Texas going this evening. And Texas is able to get to Blaine Traxel, who's been a good pitcher. I mean, Blaine Traxel, this is not like you're putting a chump on the mound. This guy's
right.
7-3 on the year. ERA is about 3.5. He'll give West Virginia a better chance than they had last night. But as we've said, the more Texas can put a lead on the board and play with the lead and get West Virginia scoreboard watching a little bit and not thinking about, oh, man, we only have to win one. Well, now all of a sudden our chances of doing that are shrinking.
Wow.
You get to a situation on Saturday where you're trying to avoid a sweep. The Longhorns have the home crowd.
Start gripping.
Yeah, maybe. And they've never won a Big 12 championship in the regular season. I believe I heard Keith Moreland say last night their last conference championship came as a member of the Big East conference back in the day. So they're trying to win one. And they're still the favorite to do it. Odds would tell you that they've got the best opportunity, but you got to put your cleats in the dirt and go win that thing. And Texas is not going to give it to them, I promise you, on their home field. All right, let's get to the other headlines, the trending topics of this busy morning, including that Longhorn 12-2 pounding of the Mountaineers. Top Gun Equipment Rentals. Yeah, it was Porter Brown last night, the hero, one of the heroes for the Longhorns. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Dylan Campbell 3 for 4. 11th home run of the year, extended his program record hitting streak to 31 games. Lucas Gordon got the win. As we mentioned, Texas goes again tonight. Game 2, 6:30. LeBaron Johnson Jr. facing Blaine Traxel. Texas softball will begin playing the NCAA tournament today as well. They host Seton Hall as part of a 4-team regional at McCombs Field. Texas State and Texas A&M also a part of that double elimination tournament. Great news late yesterday for the Longhorn basketball team with official word the junior point guard to be Tyrese Hunter is going to return to Texas for another season after testing the NBA draft waters. He joins a rebuilt backcourt now that includes the Oral Roberts transfer scoring machine, Max Asmus, and Texas Arlington transfer Kendall Weaver. NBA playoffs last night. Top-seeded Denver Nuggets now 2 wins away from somewhere they've never been, the NBA Finals. They held off the Lakers in Game 2 of that Western Conference semifinal series, 108-103. It was Jamal Murray, cold most of the night, stepped up with 23 fourth-quarter points 23 of his 37 in that final 12 minutes to fuel the win, and they get the victory. For the Lakers, by the way, it was not a great night for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Their two stars shot a combined 13 of 34 from the floor, including 1 of 9 on three-point attempts. They'll head back to Staples Center for Games 3 and 4. Game 3 will be Saturday night. Lakers are undefeated on that floor in this playoff run. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinal series is tonight in Boston. That's with the Heat up 1-0 over the Celtics. In baseball last night, both the Astros and Rangers took nights off. They're going to open up series this weekend at home with last-place teams. Rangers will host Colorado. Astros will host the dreadful Oakland A's. Round Rock lost again last night, this time to the El Paso Chihuahuas. And in high school baseball, how about Round Rock? The Dragons walk-off win over Westlake in Game 1 of that best-of-3 playoff series. Walk-off win in the 7th inning. Also last night, Lake Travis had a 1-0 victory over San Antonio Johnson. All right, there you go. Busy. LeBron, they're calling him online this morning, LeBrick. He was not good last night. And
he
again, all I'll say in defense of the Lakers, because I picked them, and so I got to argue with you guys, make it fun. They were not good, but if LeBron makes that layup off the inbound steal late, it's a 2-point game. And they're in these games.
A little backdoor reverse layup, LeBron.
So them playing terrible, yet they're still in it. And this is the reason the young guy, I mean, the supporting cast for the Lakers are playing well. And I do think the Rui Hachimura, you know, taking on Nikola Jokic defensively and then him scoring 21 points, they got to build on that if you're Darvin Ham. Austin Reeves continue to shoot really well. Dennis Schroeder is giving you, a lot of energy as a defender. The D'Angelo Russell thing continues to be a bit of a mess with them. That guy's seems like a me guy at this point, but they need more out of him. But quite honestly, they need their stars to play like stars, and Lamar and Anthony Davis and LeBron James did not last night, and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic did, and now they're up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a couple. It's a turnover here or there. It's a missed layup. It's a missed free throw. I mean, this is where it all matters.
Well,
I mean, the only person that matters to is Ty with the numbers. Other than that, if you lose by 1 or you lose by 8, who cares? You lose.
Correct. But the argument for the Lakers is they're not playing that good, and then they've been in the game. Will that change in L.A.? I don't know. They could not play well and lose in L.A. too.
Yeah, I mean, they can't have that happen to them in Game 3 and lose by 1 at the buzzer.
I just feel like I see a series that if they can get the 2 wins in L.A., force it back to Denver with all the experience, and gosh, get your 2 best players playing well on the road, you can be back in this series. But obviously it's a huge uphill battle now. They've got to win 4 out of 5 against a really good team that's playing really good basketball. They have an answer for everything. And
the fact that they have not lost a home game is big.
Right. Yeah. The Lakers haven't either, but then that would still favor Denver in the big picture. All right, we've been teasing it all morning. Ty, we ready? It's time for Bucky's Morning WNBA Report. Here we go.
Well,
hold on. Let's let our intro music play.
Well, the WNBA stole my girl away, took her Nike Airs to Sacramento. They needed a defender, beautiful and tender, due to call my love Lo Siento. She's wearing lipstick in the backcourt, panties on the foul line, hope she doesn't suffer injury.
Are you guys ready? Okay, the start of the WNBA tonight, Mercury versus Sparks. That's all I have today.
What?
There you go. Brittany Griner will be the comeback player of the year at the end of the season.
We're gonna do that every morning just so we can play that song from Soul Hat. I love that song. WNBA stole my girl away. Hey, record
Does
viewers.
This mean I'll have to watch one? I mean, I'll have to watch again. I have not ever watched a WNBA game all the way.
No,
okay, let me help you. I've never watched a quarter of the WNBA. They do play 4 quarters. They don't play halves, right?
You know they had record viewership last year.
Well, like 8 people watching?
See,
that ain't true.
See, that's not how we're. That's not the way we're thinking.
Dude, if we're gonna do a WNBA update, you need to be prepared, and Ty can't be clowning on it.
Can't clown on them. Really?
Sorry.
Soul Hat's already provided the intro music. We got this thing. Okay, so yeah, be ready for that.
Becky Hammons has been fined. Not again. She's going to miss 2 games.
2 games?
She's suspended for 2 games.
How many games are in the WNBA season?
I think they have a 12 per season.
We know
they have a 12 game season. I think it ends in like July, does it not? It It does. It ends pretty quickly. There's like 12.
This is your
12 to
update. What are you asking me for?
12 to 24 games.
36 games.
Okay.
In the WNBA
That's still,
season.
yeah.
Okay, close to 24. That's not bad. I'm getting closer. I'm going to learn some things about this league.
It's up to 40 now. How many teams are there? 12.
There's only 12 teams?
20 home, 20 away. Yeah. So it says here.
Come on.
And how long does the NBA have to continue to?
Hey, they're growing. Don't do it.
Okay, okay. Oh, don't do it. I mean, you could almost feel me thinking. So no, okay.
I can feel you thinking, and I can feel us getting canceled. Can we stop with that over there? Since we're going to be with Bob Huggins in sensitivity training here shortly, if we're not careful. But no, that's the update. So who you say Sparks and who?
Mercury.
And where Sparks are L.A.?
L.A. Sparks.
Phoenix or the Mercury, and that's Brittany Griner's
That's
team.
Brittany
correct?
Griner's team, yes.
Okay.
She will be comeback player of the year. Do you doubt that? Is there any doubt on that?
I guess if you come back from prison, Russian prison, I think that's probably a worthy. You should win that without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay, so NBA, WNBA, baseball.
I think we should have a
Longhorns.
female that would come on for this.
I think you're doing great. I think you're doing just great.
I know some college basketball girl, or is it ladies? No. Women's college basketball players that could maybe
help us out with that?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Listen.
You're very interested now, aren't you?
Hey, when
you see my eyes kind of perked up a little bit with that.
Speaking of the great hockey game last night, and we didn't give that score, but it went to 4 overtimes, nearly to a 5th overtime. But Matthew Tkachuk with a goal with 13 seconds to go in the 4th overtime. So since they played a full game and then 80 minutes of overtime, so 2 games and a period is what they played last night, which was ridiculous. And Carolina beat Florida.
Well, that's some tired bodies there.
Tonight it'll be the Stars and Vegas Knights in Game 1 of that semifinal series. And do you hear the chatter that the city of Houston could be attaining an NHL hockey team? Because recently, I guess it was this week, that out in Tempe, Arizona, a vote was declined to build a new arena for the Phoenix Coyotes. That it's not going to happen. And the owners believe they need a new building to compete. So there's talk that Houston, who has been the home of an AHL team in the past, but Houston is the 4th or 5th largest city in the country, media market in the country. They've got a ready-made stadium in downtown Houston, the Toyota Center, where the Rockets play, and that Houston could be a spot where the new owners are eyeing to move.
You should come here.
They should come to Austin. Well, there's not a stadium here, and I don't think there's going to be a Cedar Park Center, HEB Center at Cedar Park, not
Moody
large
Center.
enough. Moody Center, but UT and C3 wants to pack that with concerts on a night-by-night basis. I don't think they're looking for new tenants in that realm. But Houston would make sense because it's a huge city, right? Houston is a growing city. There's there's enough hockey fans there that have moved to Houston from elsewhere that would probably adopt that team. The AHL team that was there did very well as far as attendance and support. So keep an eye on that. I'm not saying I'm not reporting it, because I'll get the text that says Z reporting, but just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it because there's talks being had, especially after the vote didn't go their way out in Tempe, Arizona. So keep an eye there.
I could see that in Houston. I
could too. I mean, it's just a huge city, and it already supports their football, baseball, and basketball teams.
Would they have to kick out Joel Osteen?
No, he's over at the old Summit, dude. He's at the Summit.
He's still at the Summit. He didn't build a new place yet.
I'm sure he'll
because he's got the cash.
He'll build some huge new palace, and then when it floods, lock out the people trying to get in. Won't let him in.
I met his daughter at UT.
Who, Holstein?
I worked at one of the buildings where his daughter was a tenant.
And?
I delivered mail one time. And
you
he wasn't
delivered the
there,
mail, did
but
you?
the mom was there helping her move in. I said, what's up?
Joel's busy, man. He's got things to do. He's got to spread the word.
All right. Well, it says we want a WNBA dunk contest. Okay, we can work towards that. Hey, can we get to the phone line? Look who that is. It's Tom McKay, biggest hockey fan we know, audio-visual consultations. T-Mac, are you going to the game in Vegas this weekend or what?
We're going to start the Sunday 2 o'clock game, but we're going to have to probably jump on a flight to catch at least 2 periods of the Game 5 here as long as they win tonight. We're going to stay here tonight, or Friday night, to watch the Texas Stars try to wrap up the divisional championship.
Okay.
Were you calling to help me out with my WNBA stuff? Were you calling to help me with that?
WNBA dunk contest, all 2 of them. Good job. You
You have a winner.
two of them. Two of them can dunk now, I think. That game last night, Aaron, I thought, wow, this is great. I got a week of relaxation here with almost no games, no travel for like 4 days, and then got to stay up till 1 o'clock to watch a four overtime game. That was amazing.
80 minutes of overtime. That's a new. That's got to be a record of some kind, isn't it? For crying out loud, and even for the NHL.
I think it was actually only like the 6th longest playoff game ever. They had a couple go into 5 overtimes in the past.
All right. Well, keep up with the hockey. Go Texas Stars. They need a win on Sunday or it's over, right? Because Milwaukee leads it 2-1.
Yeah, we need to win Friday. Everybody needs to show up Friday night. I would love to, if you guys let me do that. Just go ahead, guys. Everybody, we're about 900 seats from a sellout right now only. So just go out there. It's an awesome time, and it's loud as hell right now in the playoffs.
All right, buddy. Tom
Thank
McKay.
you, Tom.
They play tonight,
right.
and if they can't win tonight, they need to win tonight to force Sunday,
right,
which would be a Game 5 because the Milwaukee Admirals beat them on Wednesday night 4-3. All right, there you go.
No, Tom. No,
McKay.
Ty is not reporting to baptize Joel Osteen's daughter. No, no. Did you report that you baptized her?
Somebody wants to know how that night went because there's a texter that says, "Ty, are we Eskimo brothers?" I met Osteen's daughter too.
Stop.
No, I did nothing like that. I didn't even really meet her.
That's better.
There was an encounter where I knew who she was, but she definitely
was this at UT or was this at Texas State?
This is at UT.
Okay.
I was working a little real estate gig on campus.
Working a little scam.
No,
come on, man.
Working a little. Love it. Thank you very much, Ty, for straightening that out.
Perfect. You still checking on Joel Osteen?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I go to church now.
Speaking of WNBA, I've never watched a minute.
I used to check in on him when I didn't go to church.
Hey, I met
go to
Don
church
Henley's daughter, too.
Ooh, at UT?
Yeah.
Love Don Henley, the golden voice. Because Don Henley is a North Texas. I don't think he graduated from North Texas, but he went to North Texas. Part of that great music program in Denton that includes himself and Nora Jones. And
there were some advantages to being a fake UT student, I will say.
And you didn't reveal yourself, did you? You didn't let people know that you really weren't.
I mean, if you ask the right questions, you'd probably get it out of
there
me.
You go.
I wasn't gonna surrender that information just willingly.
You just. I go to University of Texas San Marcos campus.
Pretty much.
I like it. So, how was Don Henley's daughter?
Another situation where she definitely didn't know who I was, but I was like, "Oh, that's Don Henley's daughter."
Does she look like Don Henley at all?
Not really.
Hopefully, like Mrs.
Cool.
Henley.
Yeah, I don't know who Mrs. Henley is. I guess Don Henley got married at some point, but
at some point.
Love the Eagles. Big Eagles fan. Big Don Henley fan out of East Texas. But all right, so there's some very off-the-wall conversations, including the WNBA update coming your way, brought to you by Bucky Godbolt. Also have a Craig Way report coming up to get you cranked up for that big series. We're watching the PGA Championship as round 1 is in the books, and your leader is I almost said Brooks Koepka. Bryson DeChambeau, another live golfer. I'm still mad at those guys for leaving the PGA Tour. I like seeing Bryson DeChambeau, teed up each weekend with the best players in the world. I like seeing Brooks Koepka. Now we'll just see him at these majors. But Bryson showed again why he is a major champion and one of the most talented. Remember, Bryson DeChambeau was a collegiate champion, a junior champion. He's a U.S. Open champion. This guy's an elite golfer. He's down 25 pounds or so and looked the part yesterday. Shot 466, which was outstanding. But Scotty Scheffler's probably the name to watch, Buck, because there he is, just hanging out. John Rahm may have shot himself out of the tournament yesterday with a 6 over and was just a mess. But
there's Big Smiley Rose looking good.
Yeah, Justin Rose is teed off in his second round, and he's your guy. He's to 2 under, so 2 back at DeChambeau in the lead.
How's Corey Connors looking?
He's good. He doesn't tee off till this afternoon. He's 3 under. He's in that group with Thomas Peters, and Thomas Peters, by the way, has risen up 2 under for his round this morning to join Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, Eric Cole at 3 under.
Tom Kim coming back smelling like Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Tom Kim probably shouldn't have climbed in the mud, but he found his ball.
So he had to play that out, though. I mean, wet pants. He didn't even put on his like the rain stuff, did he? He went right there and just, as you said, he just pulled his pants up and stepped in and
Tom
just
Kim,
kept
He
kept on
creek.
going.
It was like the edge of the creek. and he thought he could get to his ball.
Took his shoes
Took
off.
his shoes and socks and pulled his pants up to his knees and his pant legs, and but then he sunk in the mud.
And then put his arms down, and his arms sunk in. Great.
Hey, this says, is Ty reporting that he is the ultimate scoring machine?
Automatic still is.
He's BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Is that BMW? That's their moniker, right? The Beamer? Or is that a Mercedes? That's the ultimate driving. It's BMW. Okay, we'll come back. We'll get back on track. Talk Texas baseball. Craig Way Report. Gossip and Blitz for the end of the hour. It's a busy Friday. Having a good time with you here on the Show of the People. Big news for Rodney Terry yesterday. Longhorns, as we expected to hear at some point, finally heard Tyrese Hunter will be back. You can start to really put together a starting five for the Longhorns now for the 2023 season. Doesn't mean they're done in the portal. I think there's going to be more work to be done. But, Tyrese Hunter and Max Asmus, you're likely starting backcourt. The Oral Roberts transfer averaged 22 points a game last year at Oral Roberts. He and Hunter, along with Kendall Weaver, a transfer from UT Arlington, make the formation of a pretty strong backcourt. Probably need another guard, maybe two, in the portal just for depth purposes. But then up front, you've got Caden Shedrick, the Virginia transfer, Dylan DeSuke back again, who had such a great finish to his season and wants to build on that. Zarek Onyema has come in as well from UTEP at 6'8", to bring a big. Alexander Mekwe and Brock Cunningham are back. So you're starting to see the formation of this roster. But again, not done, but probably still looking to get some work done in that transfer portal. But good work already done.
Maybe two more players?
Maybe two, maybe three. Guard, another
big
guy with
dude
some
if he can.
size. But look, I mean, gosh, I don't think it's going to happen. But because when you start looking and making a starting five, the hole they miss is small forward, I think, because I don't know how much of a is Onyema Onyema, the kid from UTEP, a starter? Is he a depth guy, size guy? I don't know. I haven't seen enough of his play, but what you need is Dylan Mitchell, right? You need a 6'8" athletic wing to go with Dessou and Shedrick up front. But Dylan Mitchell, by all accounts, is having a heck of a combine and really opening some eyes in Vegas. And gosh, there's now ESPN mock drafts of him being picked by the Spurs in the second round. And I think he's done enough through his work. And this is why you test the waters, right? Tyrese Hunter did it, put his name, and then Tyrese did not earn an invite to the actual combine itself. But Dylan Mitchell did. And at that combine, it's a week long. It wraps up over the weekend, this weekend. He's opened eyes, and that's really what you're trying to do. So, yeah.
Just a projection of what they think.
Yeah.
It's going to happen
they get
for
to
you.
see you, right? They get to the league exec gets to watch you play day by day and, your skills. And we know Dylan is uber athletic, and by all accounts is having a really good week.
And I don't think they're in the business of telling you, no, don't go to school for another year. You need to come join us and make some money. I don't think that's how they play the game.
I mean, Dylan Mitchell wants to go to pro basketball. The question was he going to be a player who could be drafted? And if he wasn't going to be one of the get picked in the first or second round, well, then all of a sudden it might be a good option to come back and become a feature player for the Longhorns. But then more and more, it's a good thing, right? The fact that he's having a great week and he can go chase his dream.
Well, you want him to succeed,
sure.
So yeah.
But for the Longhorns, it's kind of what they need. They need that small forward, athletic wing that can play defense and score. Also, Ron Holland, the kid from Duncanville, fits that bill too, but he is uncommitted from the Longhorns right now. So that's kind of the spot you're looking for. Okay, so Buck, a lot going on. Talking Texas baseball, talking golf, talking some WNBA and NBA. I appreciate your WNBA update.
Thank you.
Solid.
Thank you very much.
We also have this. I was going to mention. Dan Orlovsky, right?
Oh yeah.
He does a good job on ESPN, former quarterback in the National Football League, a bad one, but he was a quarterback. He put out a tweet yesterday I thought was an interesting conversation starter. He put, quarterbacks you win because of in 2023. Quarterbacks you win because of in 2023. He lists Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. Do you largely agree with that list, or are there names on the list that you don't see or believe? Quarterbacks you win because of 2023, Mahomes, Hurts, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Herbert. Agree with all those?
I do.
Ty, any of those that you would remove from the list?
Lamar and Herbert may be the guys.
Has Trevor Lawrence proven? I remember that terrible.
Yeah, he won a playoff game.
Yeah, but then he threw a bunch of interceptions, and then
I still he's got it. I think he's going in that right direction.
I think all those guys got it. Lamar is the one. Probably Lamar and Herbert are the two that are.
That's right. That's what I said. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson all of a sudden becomes a really interesting guy. He comes in a bit of a chip on his shoulder, looking to prove that contract, and they've added Odell Beckham Jr. They also drafted your guy out of Boston College, Zay Flowers, at wide receiver. And if you listen to John Harbaugh, he'll tell you we're finally going to be healthy at running back, guys. We're finally going to have a healthy J.K. Dobbins.
Couch, you haven't had the tour to your tour. You haven't had your summer drills yet.
Yeah, they'll all get hurt in camp like they did the one year. But remember, when they were healthy before all the injuries at running back and then Lamar's injuries, they were a juggernaut in the AFC. But they couldn't get through the playoff run, and that's going to be the challenge for everybody in this just unbelievable AFC, how tough it's going to be to get to the Super Bowl. He also has a list, Diane Orlovsky, of quarterbacks you'll win a lot with in 2023. Quarterbacks you'll win a lot with in 2023. That includes Tua, Jimmy G, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Dak Prescott. Good? Good with the list?
Yeah, you'll win games with them.
Okay, well, which one of those quarterbacks? Okay, he also wrote Mac. Who's Mac? I'm trying to think.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. I don't know yet. I mean, which quarter? Because his third category is big season of answering questions ahead, and that's Matt Stafford, Desmond Ridder, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, and Jones. Who's Jones?
Mac Jones again.
Mac Jones. He got Mac and Jack.
What's he got? Mac and Jones.
He's got
in there,
Mac
right?
and Jones in both lists. This is Dan Orlovsky's tweet yesterday.
That's Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. Thank you. Daniel Jones, Mac Jones. Okay, but I don't know. I see that's where. Yes, there are a lot of questions to be answered. Matt Stafford is injury related. Can he and Cooper Kupp get back to making things happen, handing the ball to Cam Akers? Desmond Ridder obviously is really an interesting name because he's in Atlanta. They got Bijan Robinson now and all those weapons. That's an interesting, and they also really did some good work on the defensive side of the ball in Atlanta.
There's no doubt about Russell Wilson.
He's got to be better. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, yes, both those two.
And there are people in the AFC North who believe if Deshaun Watson's anywhere close to what he was at his best in Houston, that Cleveland's going to be a handful. I mean, Cleveland, I know we say that, they've got a really good roster, and Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb, and acquired Elijah Moore from the Jets. They've got weapons, good offensive line. Their defense has improved, but it really is going to fall to Watson to be better. Russell Wilson has to be better. I think that's an interesting list because quarterbacks you'll win a lot with. The other category is quarterbacks you win because of. Are there any of the quarterbacks in the quarterbacks you win a lot with who could move up into the quarterbacks you win because of category? Like Dak Prescott? Probably not.
He could.
Kirk Cousins.
He's been at that level before.
How about Kirk Cousins? And the excitement in Minnesota has been that Jordan Addison has come in their rookie mini camps and looks really polished, not surprisingly, and that they're going to put that dude. He's the replacement for Adam Thielen, right? So you got KJ Osborne.
They got a speed guy now.
You've got Justin Jefferson, and now you've got Jordan Addison, who's just as smooth as they get. Good route runner. Of course, we know he won the Biletnikoff Award at Pitt 2 years ago and was really good for USC last year. How about that passing game? Now, the report in Minnesota for your team, Buck, is that they're looking to trade Dalvin Cook. They're looking to move on from Dalvin Cook. They're going to let Madison become the primary runner. They're at contract odds with him, and he's making too much money.
Come on, Cowboys.
Is that
Come on, Jerry.
The Cowboys don't have the money to do that, do they?
I'll make him pay for his contract.
Well, that's why they're trying to get rid of him. Yeah, and somebody texted accurately, where's Brock Purdy on this list? I think Dan Orlovsky is going to wait for Brock Purdy to get healthy before we start talking about him. But, yeah, if he's healthy, I put him in the category if Brock Purdy is healthy in San Francisco, Buck, he is the quarterback you'll win a lot with because they've got everything around him.
Right.
And we saw Brock Purdy be able to drive that ship really well all the way to the NFC Championship game.
I think the 49ers are going to miss D'Amico Ryans more than people think. Or even notice right now. And some of the guys they lost on that defense, too. I know they didn't lose any of the huge key cogs, but Jimmy Ward
moved on.
One of the other safeties.
Then with the new quarterback.
And they added Javon Hargrave, though, one of the best defensive linemen in the free agent market from Philadelphia. I don't expect a huge slide from San Francisco, but the quarterback position is important to figure out. But I think with San Francisco, they may be even better potentially, Ty, because, they got to replace D'Amico Ryans, but they replaced Robert Saleh, and that was seamless for their defense. They just moved D'Amico Ryans up. It's really a really talented defense. But here's the question in San Francisco. What does Kyle Shanahan do with Christian McCaffrey with a full offseason to plan for it? You know what I mean, they acquired Christian McCaffrey in the middle of the year, and he came in and had a huge impact on that offense on the fly. With a full offseason of Kyle Shanahan dialing up plays that include Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, that gets pretty scary. Brandon Ayuk is still there. The offensive line is still very good. If you're a Niners fan, you would say, man, if we can get a full healthy season out of Elijah Mitchell to go with Christian McCaffrey, we are going to be dynamic offensively.
God, Kittle was so good with Purdy last year.
Yeah. I mean, and if Purdy gets healthy, and they stay healthy at running back, that's
I'm just
a
not seeing
dynamic
that
team.
kid playing until games and games into the season, if he plays at all.
You know what's interesting about this list from Dan Orlovsky is that the quarterbacks you win because of, there are quarterbacks in the bottom category, big season of answering questions for him, that are more likely to end up in the quarterbacks you win because of column than the ones in the middle. Because I think the ones where he says quarterbacks you win a lot with, these are the middle of the road quarterbacks. Those are Tua. But can Tua can he stay healthy? If he does, you project his numbers for a full healthy season. Look out with Tyreek Hill.
Sure.
I don't see Mac Jones ever being much more than Mac Jones in New England.
Just barely getting into the playoffs if they do, because of that defense.
And what we don't know is how much was his growth stunted by not having an offensive coordinator last year and that ridiculousness with Bill Belichick. Dak is Dak. He's got to cut the interceptions down, and they're almost telling you we're going to try to take the ball out of his hands more because we need to run the football. Got to be a lot more play action. We need win with our defense, win with our running game. Let Dak manage the game. The Cowboys are telling you.
I think
what
Mike
they
McCarthy
think of him.
is saying a lot of stuff, but they're going to be flinging that ball around.
I don't believe so. Well, that would be a change
You got CeeDee Lamb. You got.
But you can't keep flinging the ball around if you have a quarterback who leads the league in interceptions. That's not a wise decision. I mean, the Cowboys tried that, right? Remember when Zeke was rolling in there and Dak was a rookie in his second year? That was built on a run game with Zeke and play action for Dak, and he was kind of like what they're asking Brock Purdy to do in San Francisco.
Right, very much.
And now they've built this defense that it could be unmatched if they get it cranking up. I don't think you're going to see Dak in shotgun all the time and flinging it around. I think you're going to see them trying to run the football, control the game, get a huge year out of Tony Pollard in that backfield, and let Dak, go back to doing what he was doing. Because I do agree that Kellen Moore really more and more tried to build the offense around Dak Prescott, and you saw the results, right? 29 interceptions in his last 32 starts. That's a lot. That's a big number. But the names where it's big season of answering questions, Matt Stafford, obviously, if he's healthy, he can get back to being one of the best quarterbacks in the league pretty quickly, but can he be healthy? And that's a big question. Deshaun Watson. Gosh, if Deshaun Watson gets anywhere close to what he was in Houston with that roster, he's a good player, Buck. Whatever we think of the off-field stuff and how icky that was and how questionable it is that he's even playing, well, he's a really good player. I mean, Houston fans can tell you when he was at his best, he was a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on him in year number 2 there now.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same conversation as
I don't know why I say a lot of pressure. He's getting his money.
Right.
He's got his money.
Well, it's kind of like the Christian McCaffrey thing. Deshaun Watson now has a full offseason with that team to run that team. And he was there last year, but remember, he was suspended for the first 11 games of the year. So it was limited what he could actually do. That won't be the case this offseason. He'll have all of training camp. And if Deshaun Watson gets close to it, that's a good football team. There's a reason Cleveland gave up all what they did to Houston to get him and then sign him to that big contract. They believe that he can get back to being a top 5 quarterback. If he is, they're right there with anybody.
Yeah, and where's Baker
AFC.
Mayfield on there? His name's not even on that list, is it? Any on the list? He should be in there.
Does he belong on the list?
I mean, he's a quarterback, and he's one of the starting. Well,
has he been named starter yet? I mean, it's he and Kyle Trask competing for that job in Tampa, is it not?
Well, then they should put Kyle Trask there because I'll say they've got problems.
No, I think Kyle that team is challenging for the first pick of the draft.
Yes,
they in Arizona.
I would agree.
All right, we'll come back. Load up a Friday Blitz. Let's not finish the week weekly. We've had a great week of blitzes. Let's do it again. 447-3776. Also some gossip ahead of it. First, Craig Way. QC Kinetics, folks, 2 great locations, one in Austin, one in Round Rock, and they're providing relief for Central Texans who are dealing with chronic pain. That's really what it's about. And, man, so many folks would tell you and give you their testimony that this stuff absolutely works, and the stuff would be regenerative medicine, the ability to allow your body to heal itself. That's really what it is. As we talk about, if you scratch yourself on the outside, the exterior of your body, you have a cut or something, your body will heal itself over time. And that's the same thing with these injections of your own healthy blood cells, highly concentrated, then injected into the chronic area to promote the relief you're seeking. And your body will heal itself. But, without the use of the injections, it won't do it. But if you kind of force the issue, it absolutely will. And that's what regenerative medicine is all about. It's why it's such a growing choice instead of undergoing costly surgeries and long-term surgeries which come with risks and recovery, downtime. QC Kinetics, it's non-invasive. It's just injections where you're in and you're out the very same day, about an hour at a time. You can do them in your lunch hour, and over time you will see the relief and reach the relief that you seek to get back to being the active person you want to be. And it takes a very simple phone call, 512-593-4303. That's 512-593-4303 at QC Kinetics. 2 great locations. Give them a call. Set up that easy consultation, absolutely free consultation for some point next week. 512-593-4303 at QC Kinetics. Salacious gossip ahead of your blitz. Loaded up 447-3776. You know the blitz coming. The gossip brought to you by Bud Light. Of course, the world's favorite light beer, has been for more than 40 years. Also the official domestic beer partner of your Texas Longhorns, the Texas Exes, and the Texas OU game. And then in this final season in the Big 12, Bud Light, the fuel for the Longhorns. All gas, no excuses run to the Big 12 championship. Can they get it there? Guy on the move at the PGA Championship, Buck. Michael Block, Club Pro. Michael Block is now a shot off the lead. He's 3 under today. One shot back of Bryson DeChambeau.
That dude's having some fun. He was having some fun yesterday now.
It's fun to be a Club Pro, but
Heck
also
yeah.
really fun to play in the PGA Championship. Could this be like a tin cup conversation?
This is where it happens in these.
Kevin Costner. Speaking of great all-time movies that Kevin Costner wasn't in, 34 years ago today, Buck, 34 years ago this day, May the 19th, Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze, Kelly Lynch, and Sam Elliott, was released in cinemas.
What's Kelly Lynch these days?
She was good in that film. Remember the cabin scene?
Yes. Doc.
Under the Moonlight?
Under the Moonlight. She's 64 now. Looking good.
She certainly does.
She's no Martha Stewart.
81 years old. Do you think Snoop Dogg ever hooked up with Martha Stewart? Ty, you're of this conspiracy.
They're business partners.
Yeah.
They're about making money.
They exchange business cards.
Making business.
Making money.
She's 81. She'll be one of the cover models on Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. And she says Snoop's her friend, Snoop Dogg. Love that movie, Roadhouse. Have you seen
She's
her?
done some time, hasn't she?
She went to jail.
She went to jail. She's done some
White
time.
collar crime. I mean, she was, insider trading. She got caught.
She got it done. She knew how to keep her cash. She had friends in all the right places.
She took the fall for Snoop. That's why they're tight.
Could be.
Did she really? She did the time? Real quick, someone used Google data to find the drunken munchies in every state. For most of the country, burgers are the number one choice after a night of drinking. Chicken wings are second, followed by grilled cheese. Taco Bell, one in the United States, is the number one go-to after a late night late night binge. Ty, where is your drunken munchies spot?
It used to be the Magnolia Cafe on Lake Austin Boulevard.
That's gone now.
Probably, I'm a big fan of Denny's.
My
girlfriend thinks I'm trash because I love it so much, but pancakes late night, some bacon and eggs, maybe a milkshake,
hash browns,
and honestly, they're boneless buffalo wings too. I know they're probably just frozen.
You go to the one down by the airport?
I-35.
I-35,
the one that's like an old school exterior to it.
Okay.
Shortstop.
Last time I went
always.
there, I had to walk out because the line was out the door.
When I was in college and doing that kind of stuff, late night.
Over near St. Ed's, you had the Denny's too, didn't you?
The Kettle.
Oh, the kettle. I've been in there.
The Kettle. That was close to our apartment too.
Kettle.
Right there on Woodward. The Kettle. We'd go there. And then Jack in the Box was big back in the day too because it was right there on Old Torp. I don't know if it's still there.
Crack in the Box.
And Taco Cabana. Taco Cabana was big. We'd run and get some tacos. All right, get to your blitz.
Here you go. First blitzer, you're up.
Porter Brown, one badass mofo. You'll never see him wave a white flag like them Aggies. And LeBron James, they gave him a new name, Chump James. You hear that, you LA people? All you California people coming here? Chump. He's a chomp.
Thank you, dear big dog.
Scored more points than any player in the history of the game.
Next blitzer, you're up.
Hey, Bucky, just so you know, San Antonio has a WNBA team, and they don't have an injury report. It's called a trimester and cycle report.
Oh,
no. We're supporting the WNBA. We got to stop with this.
Next blitzer, you're up.
Learn.
Hey, Mr. Duncan, what is Bob Ballou's wife's number? This is Wimby.
Gee, you people. Next blitzer, you're up.
Bucky, my brother, I was watching that PGA Championship yesterday, and that Tom Kim got down in that mud. Now the funniest thing I've seen is them women kick your butt, man. Oh, God, man.
Next blitzer, you're up.
When you use the legal system to do illegal things. That makes you a criminal.
Thank you, Martha.
Getting all of that. Thank you. Next
Martha
Blitzer, you're
Stewart.
up.
Coach.
Yes.
Yeah, when basketball season's over, we're going to need Ty's mom to make an in-studio visit, and we're also going to need the Nunley story, baby.
There you go.
I don't think. I mean,
I don't know if Martha. I think she was under like house arrest.
Oh, she did time, my friend.
I mean, like
I'll
went
look that up.
off to the clink. I mean, the big green door I showed you yesterday.
She did.
She had like a cellmate and everything.
Oh no, really? Remember I showed you the big green door yesterday?
Listen, after the
As we were going downtown, we showed you the big green door.
After the reverse chicken conversation the last couple of days, I'm not telling the Nunley story ever again. I don't believe.
Oh man!
Even my wife last night was like, "What is this reverse chicken thing?" I was like, "You don't want to know.
You know that's going down in the
You
pen.
don't want to know."
Oh, that's down in the pen. Wow.
Then I had to remind her of the gay pool party that I ended up at and how that worked out.
And then she figured it out from that point on. Okay, reverse chicken, I got it.
Hey, coming up, we will continue these conversations and find better ones. Also, we're going to check in with our man Craig Flowers. The Preakness Stakes runs this weekend, but also from Craig, he's played Oak Hill, Buck, a couple times. Oak Hill, the country club in which they are playing the PGA Championship on. So get us some inside details. It's coming next here on Beanie. Dr. Greg Eckert, folks. Love Dr. G. Of course, Brain Vault continues to take off, and this is their general dental practice there that's been going for 27, 28 years in North Central Austin. Dr. Greg Eckert is my dentist. But here's the thing. He also can help you with a brand new smile. He's going to help me with some work here this summer, which I'm looking forward to kind of rebuild some teeth that I've ground down and 50 years old now and really rebuild it. But, boy, you can undertake a complete smile rebuild in one day. Dr. Eckert can give you that new smile with permanently secured dental implants in one visit in. Short treatment time, obviously. You'll spend no time without teeth. You'll smile with confidence again, eat freely without pain or discomfort. It's a permanent solution, too, folks. This is for the rest of your life. And if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, or you just like to have that more confident smile, let Dr. Eckert and his team help you with that revolutionary alternative to dentures today. Just call for a complimentary consultation. Find out how the procedure works. And you'll learn pretty quickly a confident smile, I think most people know this, can truly change your life. When you're, speaking in public, taking pictures, on Zoom calls, going to meetings, you just feel more confident. You want to smile and have a good time, and that's what they can help you with in one trip in with Dr. Greg Eckert, 512-345-3166. That's 512-345-3166. Dr. Greg Eckert. Great Friday on B&E. Great blitz. Appreciate that. Good stuff. Getting you into your weekend. Headlined by Texas baseball. Already one down, 2 to go for the Horns. Emphatic last night, 12-2. Porter Brown, 3 home runs. It's been a good pickup for David Pierce and the Horns. A graduate transfer. Downtown Porter Brown. So many big hits this year, and certainly 3 big knocks last night. How about in the last 2 weekends now, they've had 2 players hit, driving 8 runs. Which I believe I heard Craig Way say this, that I should go back into the 70s for the last time a Texas baseball player drove in 8 runs in a game, which now they've done it in back-to-back weekends. Eric Kennedy did it last Saturday against San Jose State, or last Friday night. And then last night, Porter Brown, 3 home runs and 2, and part of a 4-for-5 night. Also, Dylan Campbell extended his hitting streak to 31. This guy's just a machine right now. Had a bunt single early in the first inning, but he also had a big home run later in that game. But as we said, the pitching situation for West Virginia, they started a freshman last night. They did not start their normal Friday starter, and they're starting their Saturday starter tonight, which is interesting that it almost feels like the Randy Mazey, the coach there, is trying to finagle his pitching staff a little bit.
Trying to do some shenanigans here.
There are a lot that would just say, stick with what you've done, put your best pitcher on the mound.
You've had a pretty good year, haven't you?
Yeah, just don't mess with a good thing and start tinkering with it. We'll see. Now, he could have, because Lucas Gordon, your ace, can go out and pitch a great game because, the 12 runs kind of hides how good Lucas Gordon was last night. Lucas was phenomenal for over 7 innings, 4-hit ball, just doing his thing. Do you realize Lucas Gordon right now, the year he's putting together, we'll get you some stats on him coming up, but he is in the top 2 or 3 or the top of pretty much every pitching category in the Big 12. So I could almost see Randy Mazey saying, you know what? Let's save our best arms and not face Lucas Gordon because our guy can go out and pitch great, and we still lose it.
Right.
I don't say he gave this game up, but he didn't put his best pitching matchup against Lucas Gordon, so maybe they'll have the advantage. And all they have to do is win one to knock Texas out of the race. But remember, Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma last night big time, like 14-2 or whatever, and so they're only a game back right now of West Virginia with 2 games left. They're rooting for the Longhorns to at least win one more, and if they beat Oklahoma again and sweep Oklahoma, they'll have a shot at this thing. So it'll all get settled between now and Saturday in the Big 12 Conference, and it's very, very close. Right now it's West Virginia on top, a game up on Oak State, 2 up on Texas and K-State with 2 games to go. So it's going to be a fun finish. Also, it should be a fun finish this weekend at the PGA Championship. And we're going to talk to our buddy Craig Flowers about that coming up because Craig has played Oak Hill. He told me that yesterday. He texted me. He said, man, I played that course. It is a beast. It is a beast. So we'll check in with him. Now, John Rahm is probably not going to win this thing. I don't think you're going to shoot 6 over in round 1 and still win it. Do you have a secondary pick now that you've seen around and you've seen this golf course? Somebody you like?
I don't want to pick DJ, but, man, he looks good.
His back injury caused by his wife is healed.
He's all healed up.
He's all healed up, apparently. How about Victor Hovland? I know you like Victor.
I do.
He's 2 under yesterday. He's a guy that's sneaky good and sitting right there. Scotty Scheffler.
I do like Straka, too.
Sepp. How about the name Sepp?
Sepp Straka.
Sepp Straka.
He's a round-shouldered gentleman.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he a bigger dude?
He's a bigger dude.
Okay. A lot of flat bellies out there. All right, so there's your leaderboard there.
No, you know what I'm going to take?
Who?
Harold Varner III. How about that?
Good. Get on board.
What's he sitting at?
Looking. You got
to scroll down a little bit to get to him.
Well, yeah. Before they make the cut, man, it's
he's
just
a plus.
Get on the Corey Connors train. Come on.
Is that who you bet on there, Ty?
Yeah.
The Canadian who is
it's like plus 1,600 right now.
Wow, that's a good pick.
25 to win 400.
Yeah, I mentioned he played his college golf at Kent State, the Golden Flashes up there where I grew up, first 8 years of my life. And then somebody texted 4 Dead in Ohio. Remember that great song?
Oh, yeah.
That tragic event, Crosby, Stills, Nash. My parents were both, my dad was in school there when that happened. Absolutely, back in the early 70s. Hey, can we go to the Vaqueros hotline and check in with our guy from the high ground? He is Craig Flowers. Quick programming note. Hey, Craig, I want to thank you, by the way, because you and I had a great visit. So I have put together another new podcast. I've got 2 of them now, the Eyes on Texas podcast and a podcast I'm calling Be Curious. And it's a sit-down conversation with people I think are interesting and I want to know more about. So you are the first guest on Be Curious. That is now posted at our Horn YouTube page. About an hour and 30 minutes of conversation with you, Craig, and I want to thank you for doing that. Hopefully it's the first of many curious conversations that I'll have. But thanks for doing that, my friend.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and I was glad that there was no reverse chicken talk during that podcast. That was
come on.
That was good. Every time I see a swimming pool now, I just chuckle.
That's a problem.
It's the goofiest thing.
You've probably heard Marco. You've heard enough of Marco Polo in your lifetime with the kids around the pool.
Chicken fights. Hey, Craig. By the way, if you go to listen, you'll hear Craig's thoughts on leadership from a very high level. Also, how a guy who grew up in playing sports, playing baseball, wanted to be in the big leagues, ended up 25 years on a colonel in the U.S. military. It's a really good conversation and a lot of insights to be gleaned about Craig, who he is, and how you can be a better leader in your community. So go check that out. Horn YouTube page is where you're going to find it. But Craig, before we get into some other topics, you played this course they're playing the PGA Championship on. You've been up there to the Country Club at Oak Hill.
I have. I've played 4 rounds there. 2 of the rounds I played about 9 months ago. And what's fascinating about that course, my best friend from high school is a member there. He flew Apaches in Desert Storm, and now he lives literally right across the street from Oak Hill, and they park about 20 or 30 cars in their giant yard there, and their sons make a little bit of money. But Oak Hill, first of all, is as difficult as you imagine it to be. But the first time I played it was in the last time they did the PGA there, and believe it or not, we were playing the course, unlike this year, we were playing the course about 3 weeks before they had the PGA Championship. It was actually open. And it was in a summer month. The rough, I could not believe I probably lost a dozen golf balls, not because I didn't know where they were. I knew where kind of they went, but the rough was so deep you couldn't find it. And what I've learned about that course is, and I talked to one of the greenskeepers there, that grass up there can grow as much as a half an inch or even an inch in 24 hours.
Oh.
So that by Sunday, you're going to see folks on Sunday that are having to hit out of 6.5 inch rough, and they're going to have to hit it almost like a sand shot, like something like a plugged bunker shot. And it's going to be significantly different on Sunday. And I heard that reinforced last night on the Golf Channel, where they said, this thing's going to – they have another 1.5 inches of rough that they can expect by Sunday to grow in there. I played there 9 months ago, and before they did, like as you've said this week, they did shut it down many months before this PGA Championship, in large part due to the weather, because as y'all have talked about, when there's a frost – if you step on a green or a practice any sort of grass there, you just snap off the grass and kills it. So that's why they've closed it so early for this year's PGA Championship, because you were playing in a different month, a much cooler month up in Rochester. Let me tell you, there's no good time to go up to Rochester, but if you're going to go in August.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you just go in August, and we played in August there last year, and hole number 18 is an interesting one, because the green, if they put the pin at the top of the green on 18, and it's very similar to Escondido out at Horseshoe Bay, where many of the pros go before the Masters to practice, because you're looking at 12 slope type greens out there. And that 18th green, I think this thing could go to overtime with extra holes. And if you're above the hole on the 18th green, you got to get really, really lucky to 1 or 2 putt, because there are going to be some 3 putts on Sunday on the green on 18. I had about a 10-foot putt behind the hole on 18, and there was no one behind us, so I tried to stop the ball. I probably putted it 12 times, and I could never stop the ball. When I was behind the pin on the 18th green just 9 months ago at Oak Hill. By the way, the pro shop, phenomenal pro shop. It is as mirrored as you suspect when you see the background drop. But then you go into, Bucky, you'll love this. You go into the locker rooms. It looks like a North Little Rock, Arkansas 3A football team locker room. It is rusted out aluminum. It's not even a 4A Arkansas high school football
junior college
locker room. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got a lot of JUCO in it. I mean, they're metal beige, old stand-up, from the 1960s and 70s. And guess what? Those members that pay a lot of money to be a member there, they don't want it changed.
No.
They want it. They want it that way. They want to keep it that way. But what you see outside, which is a 5-star golf course, and the restaurants and the pro shop, unbelievable. But when you go in the locker room, it's like you're walking into, happy days.
They haven't upgraded it. That is hilarious. Hey, Craig, is that best friend who lives across the street, the Green Beret, who you met because Pablo Escobar put a bounty on his head? Is that guy, or is that a different guy?
That's a different guy. That guy, that Green Beret, is waiting for me in the gym as I'm sitting out here in a parking lot
there
right
you go.
now. This is a different guy who went to St. Bonaventure, and now he owns a wealth management company up there. Rochester comes from a lot of money. Kodak.
Yeah.
And,
oh, yeah.
I mean, that was a rockin' town for a long time. But, listen, I got Adam Scott. I like Adam Scott. I like DeChambeau. And I think you can obviously put Scotty in there. But there'll be one more that'll appear. Hopefully it's that Club Pro. That'd be some excitement.
Wouldn't that be fun? Your horse confidence game going to sit out this one. The race is back to back too quick. Not enough time between.
Right, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only horse that's going to the Preakness that was in the Kentucky Derby.
The winner, right?
Mage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mage who won it, and Mage is the favorite. But I think there are only 9, maybe even 8 horses in the Preakness. That Derby, it'll nick you up a little bit and make you a little sore. So they, we decided we're just going to make sure that our horse. It's all about the horse. We want to have him at 100%. There's a lot of races ahead of Confidence Game, but if you look at that field, Coach, I don't know how Mage recovers from such an incredible performance. I mean, if you go back and watch the Kentucky Derby, Confidence Game was number 1 out of the gate, but Mage was dead last and came out and won the thing. The old cliche matters, how you finish.
Well, if you win that, you don't have to go to the Preakness, but what you want to be
highly
prepared.
Encouraged.
Yeah, well, you're highly encouraged for a lot of reasons. I mean, history and everything else that goes along with it. But of course, the Belmont is just so long, Colonel. You have to be at tip-top shape, and that's why when you look at history as when Secretariat won it and just destroyed them in the Belmont, that just still amazes me. When I look at horse racing and what Secretariat had done at the Belmont and the way Secretariat won the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown, it's just phenomenal. And these races come so quick for these horses; it's unbelievable.
That's why it's so hard. Secretariat was obviously an elite performer with incredible heart, but that Belmont is the longest of the 3 in the Triple Crown. The Preakness is the shortest, but still, you got to bounce back so quick from that Kentucky Derby. Mage is the favorite, and you can certainly pick 4 horses and have Mage among them and box that. But
absolutely,
it's so hard to do. You can go, and this is what if I'm going to bet it, I'm going to place 2 bets. I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, and 8. And I'm gonna box that, and then I'm gonna take Mage out of it. Mage is 3, and I'm gonna go 1, 4, 5, and 8, and box that. The field is not as big as the Derby, so there's not going to be people crashing around. But as much as we'd love to see a Triple Crown winner, and we always kind of root for that, but Mage bouncing back from a Derby that quickly is rare, and put Mage in your pick, but
absolutely
don't count on that one.
It's a special horse for sure, and we'll see if Mage is just that coming up tomorrow at the Preakness at Pimlico. It is in Baltimore. Hey, Ty, Coach, real quick. Ty, called you Ty. Craig Flowers is with us from the High Ground. You'll hear him tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock with the crew there.
Right.
And so, by the way, I saw this. Now, you are now making your home in Oklahoma. Your wife wanted to get back, be with her family, moved here from Westlake, so you're up there. And right down the street, they filmed a movie called the latest
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, the latest Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio film, and that is debuting at Cannes Film Festival right now. Are you? Did you make an appearance in this? Did you find your way into this cast because it was in your neighborhood where they were filming this film?
I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about that. You say my home in Oklahoma. We actually have a house in Oklahoma. My home is in Texas.
There you go.
But we are up here taking care of a great mother-in-law. But yes, when we moved into this house up here, within 30 days of us moving in, we got a letter in our mailbox, and they wanted to rent our home for either Leo DiCaprio or what's his name?
De Niro.
De Niro.
De Niro.
Yeah.
And so we met with them and sat down and probably had 2 or 3 hours of meetings. And when Scorsese was living just about 2 minutes from our house for 6 months when they filmed this. This movie's filmed in Bartlesville and Pahuska, Oklahoma. And so Scorsese rented a heck of a home just down the street from us, but we had to leave our home, get it all staged, leave our home, and Robert De Niro and his group walked through our home, and we ended up not signing a contract because back then COVID was still going on, and he didn't think enough people wore masks enough in Bartlesville, so he rented a home in Tulsa, and turned out to be a blessing because he owns about 20, maybe even 22 dogs. And these dogs are all the same type of dog. It's a little short Johnny that stands about 12 inches high, and they travel with him on their own separate plane. And yeah, this is as hard as this is for me to tell you and hard as it's to believe. It was as remarkable for us at the time. And so he rented a home in Tulsa, and he ended up tripping over one of his dogs and blowing out his ACL. So the film was delayed. But Leo DiCaprio, he was just down probably a quarter of a mile from our house, the house that he rented when they filmed this movie. And it was not uncommon to look out and see him running. He was a jogger and working out. You'd see him running by the house, and you could tell because he runs really goofy.
This film also has my guy Jason Isbell, the performer, the musician. He's in it. Also, Sturgill Simpson has a role. It's a timepiece, period piece, based in the 20s, made by Scorsese. Killers of the Flower Moon in Colonel Flower's neighborhood there in his house in Oklahoma. His home is still in Texas. Thank you, my friend. Good to hear you'll be listening to the High Ground tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. See you on the High Ground.
How about that story? So not only is Robert De Niro a father at 90,
got a bunch of animals.
So I'm trying to figure that out because they were filmed. Colonel was telling me that story. Retired Colonel Flowers was telling me that story way back. It was right after COVID was winding down, and he's like, yeah, because Craig moved up there. His wife's mother, needed them to be closer.
Does Colonel want to be called retired former?
Well,
Colonel?
he would tell you this way. It's the proper way to say
that?
It's Colonel retired. Craig Flowers, Colonel retired. Because he's not currently a colonel. Once you retire, you're not a colonel anymore. He made it to the rank of full colonel, and did that in his early 40s, which was pretty incredible. But it's now Colonel retired because he's retired.
Regular dude Craig, can I say that?
Yes.
Does that work too?
Craig Flowers,
but you don't use the word colonel in there any longer.
No, it's not. He would say that's
it's
improper. I'm not a colonel anymore. There are still colonels. I'm not one. I was one, so now I'm retired as a colonel. But yeah.
So West Point.
Yeah, West Point. He played the Oak Hill. Yeah, think about it. Well, go listen to that podcast. You want to know everything about former Colonel Flowers. It's a very good. It's called Be Curious. Looking forward to doing more of those where I sit down with interesting people and go deep. On the radio show, we get a few minutes with a guest, and these can go longer. That one's about 1:30. You can fast forward through the parts that don't keep your attention, but I promise you there'll be plenty about his time in the Army, his leadership beliefs, and he's a really intriguing guy. So Colonel retired Craig Flowers.
We can still call Cameron Colonel Cam though.
Because that's a nickname named after Colonel Cam Parker.
Not true, yeah.
Colonel Parker from
Stolen
Elvis.
Yeah. I don't know if that colonel was a real colonel.
So let me get this right. So to Craig's story there, De Niro travels with 12 dogs.
20
dogs, and they sound like little fellers.
Yeah.
He tripped over it, blew out his ACL. When did he father this child? This recently.
When he blew out his ACL.
When he was laid up.
When he was laid up, yeah. That's when it happened.
Come see Robert.
Man, oh man.
Way to go. Yeah, that is the movie. It's debuting right now at the Cannes Film Festival. Killers of the Flower Moon. Looks like a pretty good film. Basically, it's about 1920s members of the Osage Native American tribe murdered. The FBI stepped in. and trying to investigate because their land had oil on it, where they killed for the oil.
I know a couple members of the Osage tribe.
You do?
I do. I have friends that are Osage Indians, as a matter of fact.
Okay, we come back. We'll pick up these conversations. We'll get you a leaderboard from the course that the colonel was just describing up there at Oak Hill, Rochester, New York. How about that? The one of those holes at 18, Buck. If you get up above it.
Oh, no, you try to putt and try to stop it?
Right
it's
back
going
down
right
the hill.
on down.
We'll be back. Beating on the horn. By the way, I looked it up. Martha Stewart, who we were talking about coming out of the Blitz, was incarcerated for 6 weeks, 2 months at the federal prison camp in Alderson, West Virginia.
Well, just the fact she was in West Virginia was enough.
And that was it. Now, she didn't want to go there. Thought it was too far away. Her 90-year-old mother at the time couldn't come see Martha Stewart when she was an inmate. She wanted to go to a different one, but the Bureau of Prisons said she could. Then it turned out that COVID, I forget what's going on. What did they say was happening? There was something that, this was way before COVID, that she wanted to go to FCC Coleman and down, but they couldn't because of Hurricane Ivan. That complex was not usable. I don't know. So she ended up in West Virginia. You know what her nickname was in the hole?
What was it?
M. Diddy.
M. Diddy.
That's what she says. M. Diddy. Martha Diddy.
Wow.
Okay, there you go.
She was definitely out like a celebrity prison, though, right?
It was a federal prison.
Yeah, but that isn't.
She was in the
White
celebrity
collar
section.
Low security, where they were playing like golf and
No.
eating buffets.
Dude, Alderson, West Virginia.
There's
nothing there.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
a prison.
I don't know. I might have to look that.
It's just time.
Nobody wants to have their freedoms taken away. Freedom. Go to
That's right.
prison. But she did. Hey, hard to understate how big this game is tonight for the Longhorns and tomorrow night in baseball. We said it yesterday, but now the Longhorns have taken one. You know, they moved up to number 25 in the RPI with that win last night. Now, in addition to these being important games for the Big 12 Conference, these are important games for Texas in their RPI ranking when it comes time for the NCAA tournament. And so last night they jumped up from 31 to 25. Almost made up because when remember the game they lost to San Jose State, which the 2 wins didn't help them at all. The loss hurt them. It dropped them down outside the top 30 at 31. Even the win, I mean, the wins didn't do anything for them. The loss was a killer. So now they're up to 25. If they were to win tonight, you could have predicted it would probably put them right on the cusp or even just on the back end of the top 20 with a second straight win over. Because right now, West Virginia is ranked as the 6th team in the country, and they're a top 10 RPI team. So any win over them really helps you. If the Longhorns could win this game tonight, they would jump even higher. And obviously, a sweep would, in addition to them getting a share of the Big 12, it would also put them into the top 20 in the RPI, headed to the Big 12 tournament. And, you know, if you're a share of the Big 12 championship, top 20, now all of a sudden the Longhorns are back in the conversation for hosting at Disch-Falk Field, one of those 4-team regionals, getting themselves into the top 16 seeds. You know the NCAA would love to have a regional in Austin.
Of course.
Because of the crowd size and the ticket sales and just the ability to have that environment. But Texas has to work their way into it and to be a host site. Because right now the only team in the Big 12 that is seen as a hosting team would be West Virginia. And so it's a huge game tonight. LeBaron Johnson Jr. and as Craig Way has let me know, the starting pitcher tonight, and I know they'll talk about it more on Light the Tower, but the starting chunker for them tonight is an interesting one. His name is Blaine Traxel. He's a 7-game winner, but Craig let me know that he's got an unheard of 5 complete games this season. 5 complete games. So he's a horse going to the mound. By the way, speaking to the baseball, Craig Way has let me know that Greg Swindell will be a guest on Light the Tower today, 11 o'clock hour. Greg Swindell. So baseball on the brain, golf on the brain, Killers of the Flower Moon on the brain. That's a movie I'll probably see.
Is that Jason Sudeikis in that too?
No.
It's not?
It's Leo DiCaprio. It's a period piece, so it's based in the 1920s. But it's debuting at Cannes Film Festival this week. Who else is in that? Brendan Fraser is in this. Someone named Lily Gladstone. Robert De Niro is in it. So, because if Martin Scorsese makes a movie, he's got to have De Niro in it.
Absolutely. No, there's no doubt.
Isn't that kind of the deal? Yeah. So it's based on the book Killer by the same name by David Gran, Killers of the Flower Moon. So looking forward to that. Craig Flowers with intimate knowledge of that because that was filmed in his neighborhood in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Hey, you guys like this, Buck? Because college football has been a conversation. We're 100 days out. And the Pac-12, they don't have a new media rights deal yet. We know that, right? But this year on their existing contract, listen to what they're doing in the Pac-12. And obviously this is to entice future potential suitors for the teams in the remaining 10 in the Pac-12. But listen to what they're doing. I got to think coaches are going to hate this. But in-game head coach interviews, pregame and halftime locker room camera access.
Oh, no.
Coaches and student-athlete wired on-field pregames. Cameras in the coach's booth without sound. And extended handheld camera permission. Somebody's going to slug one of these camera people, one of these coaches.
A lot of folks hanging around.
Yeah. Can you think in-game interviews? Like, I know they do this in basketball in the NBA, they'll coming back from break. Let's go talk to Greg Popovich or whoever we're talking to.
But those aren't truly live, are they?
No. Well, when they say in-game, obviously they're not going to be talking to the coach while they're
going up and down the court, yeah.
It'd be they have plenty of TV timeouts in games where the red hat's out there for 3.5 minutes, holding the time up. You could have an interview there. But that's interesting. But, man, the pregame and then halftime locker room camera access.
No, get out of my locker room.
That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Heck, we saw Coach.
I got to pee, and then I got to talk, and then I got to get. That's all you got there.
We saw Coach Sark at the Alamo Bowl, and that guy wouldn't let him go. He's like, hey, get your hands off me. Your hands off me. By the way, I was told that same guy that he got in his face at the Alamo Bowl interrupted the pregame pep talk speech thing to say, Coach, it's time to go. So he cut his pre-bowl game comments short, and that's why he got so upset because he was like, dude, you came and got me, and now you're not letting us go. What are we doing here?
Overreaction.
Now we're just standing here. Oh, it was a complete overreaction, but that was an added piece of why Sark was so upset
and then he
about
got whipped by Washington.
Then he got whipped by Washington. That is correct.
And then that same damn quarterback's coming back for the
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix back for another year.
And they got a good team. Now, one of their best pass rushers transferred, though, which is weird. They're bringing Washington's bringing back their best team in a long time.
Yep.
And they're, I guess since Coach Chris Peterson had them in the Final
Four.
Said
this would be the year to have the Pac-12 on with all these teams that are pretty good. Isn't Oregon State pretty good? Oregon State pretty good team?
DJ Uiagalelei.
Okay.
Well, look, it's not like the Pac-12 is not going to be on TV this year. They're going to be on. They're on Fox and they're on ESPN. But we're talking about the new contract, the next TV
when
media
those dudes
deal.
are gone.
Yeah, and that's because this year the contract includes USC, and UCLA.
Correct.
And so what they're trying to get an agreement on is the new one once USC and UCLA are gone. And what does that look like? And they're having a hard time finding suitors at this point, which is why the Big 12 and the Big 10 are lurking. They also have the ACC threatening to fracture at this point because of the uncertainty and the unhappiness with the current media rights deal that they're locked into through 2036. So that is continuing to be an ongoing conversation too. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer. It'll be an interesting summer, to say the least.
So this infighting within the ACC over the money. I mean, does Clemson, are they thinking they should have a bigger piece of the pie? We've been the deal over the last 5, 6, 7 years. We need to get more money, or are they already getting more money?
Well, it's the same argument Texas used to make when there was uneven revenue sharing in the Big 12.
But they want to talk about it now. They don't want to just let it go.
And because everybody saw that when it was uneven in the Big 12, it led to disharmony. It just does. I mean, Texas made the fair, practical argument that, look, we're creating most of this revenue, so we should get more. We should how much?
No more of that. We're in the league. We're all in this together.
Right. Well, but that was Texas's and the other big schools' argument. Why is Iowa State getting an equal share to us? What is Iowa State bringing to the table as far as television sets and eyeballs? We're creating the revenue. Baylor, a team like Baylor, we're the ones, Kansas State. So that led to an uneven revenue sharing model in the Big 12, which led to the Big 12's demise because it was uneven, and we would have these debates. Look, then when Texas got the Longhorn Network was what really flipped it for Texas A&M, and saying, okay, we're out of here. And this is completely unequitable. If we're in a conference, we should be in an alliance together. We should be all for one and one for all, no matter who's creating the revenue. We share in the revenues. And that's what the ACC signed off on, was the idea of we're going to share all revenues, no matter who. And obviously, a couple of years into the deal, they're looking at it in Florida State and Clemson, North Carolina, and some others are saying, well, we're creating all the money, y'all. Why is Wake Forest getting an equal share?
But the SEC still believes in that model. Correct? For right now?
Well, because the SEC has the largest pool of money.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but they all believe in that same model.
Yeah, and they're similar like schools. Now, Vanderbilt gets a huge cut, right? Did they deserve that? lucky them, right? They're in the right conference.
Right.
But yes, the SEC is still, and they all are. The Big 12 was the one outlier. But what the ACC is pushing for is they want, different shares. And that'll lead to the demise. Same time, the 7 schools that are fighting for it are saying, we want to see if we can legal our way out of this granting of rights so we can get the hell out of here because we don't want to be locked into this contract. And they're, pragmatically saying, look, if we're making $30 and $40 million less annually than the teams in the SEC and the Big
not
Ten,
fair here.
Yeah, well, we can't keep up. We'll be second-class citizens here in the college football realm. Right now, we're on even footing for the most part. They're, USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten, and Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC are raising the SEC and the Big Ten's payouts to a dramatic level where the ACC is stuck where they are. And so those schools are to the point of we either want out or we want uneven revenue sharing. We want a more piece of the pie so we can try to keep up with the schools in the Southeast, like Clemson. Right? Clemson would say, guys, if we're beating these schools in the SEC. We won a couple of national championships in the last couple of years, but if this continues for the next decade,
can't compete with them.
We won't be able to. That's just not going to happen. And it's college football right now. So the ACC landlocked on the East Coast. Pac-12 is dealing with the same thing. That's why I think the Big 12 has put themselves in a good position to be the third conference. If you're looking long term over the next 10, 15 years, the Big 12 with Brett Yormark now at the helm, I think they're in a position to poach if that Pac-12 deal doesn't get done and add more teams, including maybe Colorado. What a boon that would be to get Colorado in the Denver market with Deion Sanders becoming such a focal point of college football conversation. So that's all going on. And the stories we read this week from the ACC reporting is that all these things are going to shake out in the next 30 to 60 days because this is when school's out, season's over, and outside of college baseball and the college softball, and this is when they have all these meetings, right? You got president's meetings, board of directors meetings, and this is when these decisions get made over the next 30 to 60 days before the start of next football season. All right, we'll come back. When we do.
I just saw Brittany Griner. You know how they go up and do that chest kind of bump or the side bump? Her ass would hit me right in the face, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Seriously?
Brittany Griner, she's like 6'10", right?
If I went to jump with her, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up maybe 6-7 inches.
Maybe. Centimeters.
I'm going to get up. But when she goes up, is one of her cheeks going to slap me across the face?
Most likely.
Damn, that's just not right.
We'll be back. We'll set the table for Light the Tower, get the baton handed off, and roll on a busy Friday.
I should have never said anything about Brittany Griner and chest bumping or side bumping or butt bumping.
Don't. We're almost done. We're almost out of here. We're going to hand the baton to Craig and the crew and light the tower. I believe I heard Jeff Howe is out today. Cam Parker will be here. He'll have a lot on those baseball games last night, including the one he called. Round Rock with a thriller. They beat Westlake 1-0 last night. 1-0 on a walk-off hit single in the 7th inning ball game. They beat Westlake. So they've got the first game. Game 2 is tonight at Westlake. They'll also have a third game, if necessary, played at Concordia. Also, Lake Travis, they got the jump on San Antonio Johnson because of a tremendous pitching performance. Their starting pitcher, OJ, what was his last name? He threw a complete game shutout. And so Lake Travis a win away from advancing with 2 chances to do it. Georgetown, unfortunately, took a loss last night. They got beat by the team out of Montgomery last night, 11-2. So Cam will have more on that. Craig will have a lot more on the Texas baseball series, including a visit with Greg Swindell in the 11 o'clock hour there, and should be a fun Friday on Light the Tower. U.S. Open, Justin Rosebuck to 3 under.
Go, Rosie, go.
After opening round 69, he is at 2 under for his round today, so he's right on the heels of Bryson DeChambeau.
He's won a major, correct?
Yeah,
the
U.S. Open. U.S. Open. He won the one outside Philadelphia, did he not? If memory serves. As that's everybody's spot with Bryson DeChambeau. He won his U.S. Open in 2020 at Wingfoot in New York, which is a very similar course. Similar setup, similar style, same state, obviously. And
same cold-ass weather.
And, well, yeah. Well, that was the U.S. Open, but this is the PGA Championship, and supposed to be beautiful weather into the weekend. There could be a little bit of rain. But as you heard Craig Flowers say this hour, having played that course on a handful of times, he learned that the grass will grow half an inch in a day.
Yes.
So you know this is going to get become a tougher and tougher test of golf into the weekend. The pressure rises.
That's what Pam
the greens
said.
speed up. What does Pam say?
Grow half an inch in a day.
Half an inch in a day.
Bushy Pam Cummings?
Come on.
That's
what is
somebody
wrong with it? Have that thought for next week. All right, I know you got to do something before we go, but let me ask you this about
I was just going to say Pam Cummings is not someone you'd like to play reverse chicken with.
No, see, that's what a day. What a day. What a week for that.
It's like an SOS pad.
So fingerprinting, let's just go this real quick so you can get on. So if your fingerprints stay the same all your life, correct?
Your fingerprints stay the
same.
same.
So if I go to jail, why do I have to be fingerprinted if I've been there once before, Ty?
To confirm your identity. To confirm you say that you are who you say you are.
But if they have my stuff, if I'm in the same location, you know what I mean?
But like, think how many times people have been falsely accused of things. Like, you got to make sure.
I know you got to draw all the T's and dot all the fingerprints.
Like, I can't. That prevents me from going in there and being like, I'm Bucky Godbolt. Arrest me. Like, all right, let's check your fingerprints. Look at a picture or something here.
Okay.
But you can burn them off with acid.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Are you planning on getting arrested?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I just had a flashback when I was with you yesterday and we went by the big green door.